Chapter 1607. Claiming illness. Xiao Xian feigned illness, experiencing dizziness, insomnia, and fatigue as she rested in bed. Princess Consort was infuriated. She refused to believe that Xiao Xian was genuinely unwell. It seemed like a deliberate act of defiance against her authority. As the Princess Consort, she had taken the initiative to extend kindness, but it felt like Xiao Xian was now throwing it back in her face. That woman is insufferably arrogant. Lord Xiao must be blind. Annie Fu, though also displeased, attempted to calm Princess Consort down. Should I go and talk to Madame Xiao? Princess Consort sneered, dismissing the idea. No need. I won't lower myself to beg her. Let her revel in her arrogance and ruin Lord Xiao's future. What good can she possibly achieve? She'll come to me in tears one day. Auntie Fu sighed inwardly, suspecting that there might be more to Madame Xiao's actions than she knew. However, Princess Consort kept her silence, leaving no room for further inquiries. Determined to engage in a prolonged conflict with Madame Xiao, Princess Consort pondered the uncertain future. The Crown Prince, displeased by Xiao Xian's presumed heirs, resolved to fulfill Officer Xiao's wish. He had already severed ties, so why bother retaining him? Upon the Crown Prince's eventual release, Xiao Yunduan felt a sense of relief and gratitude. Looking ahead to the new year and spring festival, they anticipated departing the capital. Observing Xiao Yunduan's apparent lack of reluctance, the Crown Prince's discontent deepened. He started questioning whether the loyalty he had experienced before was merely an illusion. These thoughts left the Crown Prince disheartened, prompting him to decide to ignore Xiao Yunduan henceforth. Xiao Yunduan was unfazed by the Crown Prince's indifference. Upon arriving home, he excitedly shared the positive news with Xiao Xian. Their joy was palpable. Xiao Xian, in particular, was thrilled, sporting a radiant smile. They envisioned a prosperous life as local leaders. Amused yet sympathetic, Xiao Yunduan gently caressed her shoulders, his eyes filled with a fond smile. Had I known leaving the capital would bring you such happiness, I would have suggested it sooner. Xiao Xian replied with a grin. It's never too late, and the capital is good too. We've experienced life here before. It'll be even better elsewhere. Xiao Yunduan chuckled. You're right. Sharing an affectionate gaze, they hooked eyes, and Xiao Yunduan, with a playful gesture, lifted her chin, leaning in to kiss her lips. Xiao Yunduan's new appointment was soon confirmed. He would serve as the prefect of An's province in Huaishi. This location, however, was less than ideal. An's province, situated on the border of Huaishi, Yuzhong, and northerny provinces, was renowned for its rugged landscapes. It featured towering mountains, winding rivers, vast wild forests, and expansive desolate swamps. This natural setting made it a haven for outlaws, bandits, and thieves, granting them a protective haven where they could act with impunity. Local officials dared not interfere, going so far as to offer discreet gifts to influential gangs during festive occasions to prevent them from causing trouble. This tactic aimed to safeguard political achievements and avoid retribution from higher authorities. Although the imperial court had conducted large-scale bandit suppression operations a decade ago, the outcomes were less than satisfactory. Small-time offenders were caught, while the major players remained at large and unscathed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1608. Unruly Zone. After the military intervention, the bandits in An's province took advantage of the chaos to engage in infighting and territorial annexation. What emerged from the ashes were three formidable gangs that solidified their dominance, their influence remaining unchallenged. In such a lawless environment, collusion between affluent families and the bandits, both overt and covert, became commonplace. Cooperation was deemed essential for survival and mutual benefit, a symbiotic relationship where both sides thrived. The so-called bandit suppression operation not only tarnished the face of the imperial court, but also eroded its dignity and credibility. The emperor, infuriated by the failure, demoted the high-ranking officials in the intermediate court who had played a role in the operation. Numerous local officials faced punishments, ranging from job loss to exile, depending on the severity of their involvement. Since then, the An's prefect position had become a dreaded assignment. Officials assumed their roles with solemn faces, eagerly seeking opportunities to depart. No one completed a full term, let alone contemplated re-election. Upon learning that Xiao Yunduan was assigned to such a challenging post, his peers at the Ministry of Revenue reveled in his misfortune. Some envious officials even taunted him. Crown Prince, too, was taken aback by the news. It was evident that someone, likely his fourth brother, aimed to thwart Xiao Yunduan. The animosity between them was well known, and the fourth brother harbored a deep-seated wish for misfortune to befall Xiao Yunduan, while the second and third royal brothers harbored their own grievances about seeing someone else succeed. They tended to maintain a low profile. Their usual strategy involved subtly fanning the flames when conflicts arose, providing clandestine assistance without taking direct action. Initially, the crown prince contemplated intervening on Xiao Yunduan's behalf, seeking to change his assignment. However, influenced by the counsel of his advisors, he decided against it. The prevailing sentiment was that it wasn't worthwhile to extend a favor to Xiao Yunduan, opting instead to wait for him to come seeking assistance, a move that would be etched in his memory. Confident that Xiao Yunduan would inevitably turn to him for help, the crown prince believed that An's province was an undesirable post that even the most competent officials would avoid. Therefore, Xiao Yunduan would surely be willing to seek assistance. The crown prince envisioned Xiao Yunduan approaching him, allowing for a diplomatic solution. He intended to convince Xiao Yunduan to stay and, if he felt uneasy about An's province, offer an alternative role as a county magistrate, with a promise of returning to the capital within a year. However, Xiao Yunduan had no intention of seeking the crown prince's assistance. Some of the crown prince's staff, attempting to provoke him, confronted Xiao Yunduan. They questioned his purported capabilities and dared him to demonstrate true governance in An's province by eradicating the bandit menace. Xiao Yunduan saw this as an opportunity to showcase his genuine abilities and not succumb to hypocrisy or the theft of unearned prestige. While the crown prince maintained a high opinion of Xiao Yunduan, expecting him to eventually seek aid, Xiao Yunduan had no plans to kneel at the crown prince's residence, begging for assistance. He intended to confront the challenges of An's province head-on, displaying authentic leadership and administrative prowess. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1609. Not bad. Should Xiao Yunduan resort to begging the crown prince now? The urgency of the situation weighed on Xiao Yunduan's mind. Delaying any further could complicate matters, making it harder for both him and the crown prince. Despite considering the advice nonsensical, Xiao Yunduan dismissed it. The two provocateurs, feeling a sense of accomplishment, believed they had touched a nerve in Xiao Yunduan. Frustrated by his lack of response, they resorted to complimenting each other and congratulating themselves on their supposed cleverness. However, they remained concerned that Xiao Yunduan might not take the bait. What if he resisted their attempts to provoke him and sought help from the crown prince? The crown prince held him in high regard, and such a request might receive favorable attention. To prevent Xiao Yunduan from staying in the capital, they devised a plan. A decision was made to dispatch someone to monitor Xiao Yunduan closely. If he did approach the crown prince for assistance, they would intervene midway, preventing him from proceeding. Given Xiao Yunduan's scholarly background, they presumed he wouldn't act shamelessly or retract his decision. If he had requested release, he should follow through. With a sense of hesitation and worry, Xiao Yunduan disclosed this situation to Qiao Xian. Unfazed, she became even more intrigued. The prospect of an unregulated area with vast territory excited her. Learning about the expansive pools and endless green mountains only heightened her enthusiasm. The mention of potential dangers from bandits didn't deter her. On the contrary, it fueled her excitement. While it posed a significant threat to others, for Qiao Xian, it was an invitation to explore her world, especially within the depths of the forest. She assured Xiao Yunduan, "Don't be scared, hubby. I.e., Sun Bai and Sun Qian are all going with us, right? They're all very capable people. After we leave the capital, we can recruit a dozen individuals and have Sun Bai and Sun Qian assist in their training. Then we can hire 20 or 30 competent escorts. We'll be able to establish ourselves there." Husband, as a local official appointed by the imperial court, those bandits might not dare to act recklessly. Let's maintain a facade of civility initially. Once we understand their background, we can plan strategically. No need to worry about lacking the capability to deal with them. Xiao Yunduan chuckled upon hearing her words. He held Qiao Xian inside. Good wife. He had initially worried about her fear, but it was clear that he had underestimated her courage. Now completely relieved, he continued. In that case, we're on the same page. After a moment, Xiao Yunduan held her and declared, "My wife and I share the same thoughts. I.e., Sun Bai and Sun Qian are here, and we can train about 20 servants. That should be sufficient. He'll write a letter immediately and ask Meng Wanfu for assistance. He'll borrow a few people from him." Qiao Xian's eyes brightened, and she remarked with a smile, "You are so thoughtful, husband. General Meng's men are much more reliable." While they could afford to hire an escort, predicting people's intentions, especially in An's province's mixed environment, posed challenges. In a place where power dictated the final say, money wasn't always the most trustworthy motivator. Hiring an escort might be futile if someone could be swayed by a bribe. Despite the favor owed to Meng Wanfu, requesting his assistance ensured reliability from military personnel who understood the gravity of the situation and wouldn't succumb to bribery by bandits, thus preventing any potential regrets. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1610. Kindness. The couple excitedly discussed and joyfully planned their approach to An's province when Zhao Shu arrived. Upon seeing Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, Zhao Shu couldn't help but express his concerns. Fifth brother, sister-in-law. Why persist in being officials? It's too much. We have enough money. Why not just relax and enjoy life? Why subject ourselves to such a destitute place overrun by bandits? Let's abandon this pursuit. Just give the word, and it'll handle everything. As long as the funds were in place, Zhao Shu believed this matter could be resolved. He found the idea of venturing to that undesirable location absurd. To him, it seemed like a ploy to send one's own head willingly. A poor official with no status or background from an obscure lineage might have no choice, but the Xiao family had alternatives. Upon learning the news, Zhao Shu was on the verge of infuriation. Wasn't it said that the crown prince highly esteemed fifth brother? Clearly, that wasn't the case. Pushing him into such a challenging situation, it became evident that the crown prince was heartless and deliberately creating obstacles for him. In essence, he wanted fifth brother to remain in the capital to exploit him fully. In that case, they might as well not play along. Xiao Yunduan shot him a glance, but refrained from commenting. Zhao Shu's audacity was apparent. She wasn't sure when he started addressing Xiao Yunduan as fifth brother, as if insisting on his rank. However, Xiao Yunduan didn't bother to correct him. It was almost amusing to see Zhao Shu's thinly veiled intentions. Why else would he label him as stupid and discourage him from going to An's province? If it were truly an unbearable place, Xiao Yunduan would naturally find a way to return. He refrained from any action, implying that he possessed the strength to confront challenges. Such thoughts were shared not only by Xiao Yunduan, but also by his wife. Could it be that their perspectives were inferior to his? The absurdity of it all warranted silence. Making noise would only risk becoming a source of mockery. Yet, there he was, panicking and squawking like a chicken. Why would Tao Dao like someone like him? Indeed, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian had inquired about this matter by sending a letter to their family before departing for Qingdi. Songsher handed them the letter upon their return to the capital. Reading the contents, Xiao Yunduan, despite his frustration, had to reluctantly accept the reality. Objectively speaking, this person seemed fine, no apparent flaws. If he ever mistreated Tao Tao, handling him wouldn't pose much difficulty. However, Xiao Yunduan didn't harbor much affection for Zhao Shu. The fact that his brother fancied the man who had kidnapped his sister bewildered him. That aside, Qiao Xian even teased him, suggesting that finding a son-in-law might be a challenge if they had a daughter in the future. Dismissing the notion, Xiao Yunduan was confident he could find suitable candidates. In response to Zhao Shu's concerns, Qiao Xian playfully replied, "Rest assured, my husband and I have devised our own plans. You continue your travels between the south and the capital. Occasionally, check on the properties we've left behind in the capital." Xiao Yunduan added with composure, "Don't interfere in other people's affairs. Don't delude yourself into thinking you're clever enough to gather information about the court. It's not a realm you can easily navigate. Whether the Eastern Palace or the various princes, none were entities to be taken lightly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 16:11. Zhao Shu's injustice. Having someone like Zhao Shu around, even 10 more wouldn't suffice to handle those individuals. It was akin to assisting people in counting their money after they had been sold. Zhao Shu was momentarily taken aback. He didn't sense any derogation of his intelligence. Instead, he responded cheerfully, "Yes, I understand. Thank you for your concern, fifth brother." Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Xian suppressed a laugh. "We're aware of what's happening in An's province, so don't worry. And if you happen to visit Shouting Village, keep this matter to yourself and don't inform your family." The couple had meticulously prepared for the move. As imperial court officials, they could potentially face threats and attempts at control from the bandits. However, until they were pushed to a point of no return, their lives remained relatively secure. Even the worst-case scenario, they could escape unharmed. Not revealing such matters to their families was a precautionary step, preventing any unnecessary worry or misinterpretation. Casting a guilty glance at Xiao Yunduan, Zhao Shu assured, "Sister-in-law, rest assured, I won't breathe a word to anyone." Qiao Xian nodded, offering a smile. "Once we settle there and prosper, I'll invite you to join us in our prosperity, Zhao Shu." Zhao Shu's joy knew no bounds. "Certainly, sister-in-law. Thank you." Both fifth brother and sister-in-law treated him well, always offering support regardless of the circumstances. As for the opportunity to strike it rich in the less-than-ideal locale of An's province, Zhao Shu didn't dwell on it. His thought process was simple. If sister-in-law said an opportunity to make a fortune would come, then it would come. If she needed money, he would provide it. If she required assistance, he would willingly follow suit. At this juncture, even Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing couldn't help but be moved. Life, it seemed, was often a matter of luck. In the past, when their young master was still present, he would frequently jest and express concerns about his kind and naive nature. He feared that safeguarding such substantial family wealth in the future might prove challenging. Whether or not he could protect, it wasn't the primary concern. What troubled Aunt Qing the most was the possibility that, instead of safeguarding the wealth, he might inadvertently bring disaster due to his vast assets. She had devised a plan for such a scenario. When the time came, she intended to discreetly relinquish some of their assets, investing in precious antiques and accumulating more gold and silver. They would maintain a low-key lifestyle, avoiding unnecessary exposure. Unexpectedly, her departure happened so swiftly that she couldn't make any arrangements for him. Besides bequeathing a considerable number of trustworthy individuals, what was even more surprising was that he had amassed wealth surpassing that of the Zhao family. The funds seamlessly integrated into the family's coffers, attracting little attention. No matter how unassuming he might be, with Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao by his side, no one could dare mistreat him. It was evident that he could lead a worry-free life. In addition to expressing gratitude, Zhao Shu also bid his farewells. The patriarch of the Zhao family had sent him a letter, urging him to return for the new year as there was an important matter to discuss. Granting due respect to the family patriarch, he had agreed to spend the new year with Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, but his departure would be inevitable. While Xiao Yunduan was indifferent to the situation, he silently wished for Zhao Shu's departure. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:12. Thank you. Qiao Xian felt a tinge of regret and spoke with a smile. Considering your chief's indication, it seems something significant is brewing. It's best for you to return home now. We'll embark on our journey after the first month of the new year, so there's no need for you to come back to bid us farewell. If you have the time, visit Shouting Village. I have something to send back to you, and you can take it along. It's not much, just 2 medium-sized boxes. The 2 boxes could easily be accommodated in the luggage-laden carriage, causing no inconvenience. Zhao Shu often had several attendants accompanying him whenever he ventured out, so the addition of 2 boxes wouldn't pose any difficulty. That's why Qiao Xian made the request. Zhao Shu was delighted at the chance to assist 5th brother and sister-in-law. He grinned and agreed, "Of course, sister-in-law. Just prepare them, and he'll send someone over to collect them. Don't worry, sister-in-law. He'll ensure they reach safely." Qiao Xian smiled appreciatively. "Thank you." Zhao Shu's grin grew even more amiable and attentive. "You're welcome, sister-in-law." Xie Jingrong also made an appearance. He was not one to merely scratch the surface. Extending his smile to Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian, he conveyed, "Congratulations." Xiao Yunduan returned the gesture with a cupped hand. "Thank you." Understanding the underlying message, Xie Jingrong exchanged smiles with them. Had Xie Jingrong not informed the princess consort's family about his intention to work for the crown prince, the crown prince might have been seriously tempted. He would have lost Xiao Yunduan, but gained young Master Xie, making it a reasonable exchange. Xiao Yunduan wouldn't have been able to escape so smoothly. This realization made Xiao Yunduan understand that, in the crown prince's eyes, he was merely a valuable tool and a useful chess piece. For those old ministers burdened by reputation, many actions were constrained. Yet, Xiao Yunduan, originating from humble beginnings without connections in the capital, had fewer reservations. Without Xiao Yunduan, finding a replacement with his level of suitability would be an arduous task for the crown prince. However, if he could secure the eldest son of the Xie family, it would serve as a compensatory measure for this loss. Moreover, given the strained relationship between Xiao Yunduan and himself, the crown prince felt a sense of disappointment and irritation, prompting him to let Xiao Yunduan depart. Unable to approach Xie Jingrong directly, Xiao Yunduan had been eagerly anticipating this meeting to express his gratitude face-to-face. The 3 of them gathered in the study for a conversation. Sharing a similar perspective to Xiao Yunduan, Xie Jingrong believed that while others might find it challenging to navigate its province, Xiao Yunduan might find a way. In a place like that, peril and opportunity coexisted, offering a risk worth taking. Crucially, the reality in An's province was dire. Serving as an official there equated to exile, rendering anyone who went invisible in the eyes of the capital's residents. Over time, the Eastern Palace's influence on Xiao Yunduan would fade away. In such a desolate place, people would look down on him, forget about him, and allow him to cleanse the marks on his reputation. It was a favorable outcome. Xie Jingrong found it perplexing whenever he contemplated the state of the nation. He doubted the crown prince's ability to secure the throne. Honored Princess Mai's 4th prince was formidable, and Empress Qi, the 3rd prince, Princess Concubine Virtue, and the 2nd prince all posed significant challenges, their influence extending deeper into the army than anticipated. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:13. Knowing a lot, if the crown prince possessed both the courage and the means, he could potentially reverse the situation and seize power. However, such qualities were not inherent in his character. Even if he were to ascend to the throne, the relentless expansion of Great Qin would persist, leading to an escalation of brutality and bloodshed. It became imperative to distance oneself from the capital and the imperial court. The crown prince still harbored hopes of retaining him in the capital as an official, but such a scenario seemed implausible. Xie Jingrong's knowledge of An's province surprised both Zhao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Entranced by his insights, they were previously unaware that the region, rife with bandits and challenges, held a deeper complexity. The influential families collaborated with the bandits, openly or covertly, exerting control over nearly every aspect of the area. Their understanding had been superficial until Xie Jingrong illuminated the intricate details. Xie Jingrong possessed information on the most influential bandits, the dynamics of the three major families, and even secured a map of Zhao. Zhao Yunduan expressed profuse gratitude, treating the information as a valuable treasure. Maintaining a semblance of distance from Zhao Yunduan, Xie Jingrong, and his newfound acquaintances departed after half a day. The secrecy surrounding their amicable terms was crucial, as it wouldn't be advantageous for others to discover the close association between Zhao Yunduan's family and Xie Jingrong. Once Xie Jingrong left, Zhao Yunduan couldn't help but express admiration. Brother Xie's knowledge is truly vast and all-encompassing. It's no wonder the crown prince values him so highly. We find ourselves indebted to him once again. Xiao Xian shared Zhao Yunduan's sentiment, wholeheartedly admiring Xie Jingrong. Zhao Yunduan's appointment as the prefect of An's province was inevitable and immutable, rendering the Xiao mansion desolate. Anticipating a decrease in visitors before the new year, Xiao Xian foresaw the absence of last year's invitations. Considering the bleak outlook for the princes, both Xie Jingrong and her husband held a pessimistic view of the future troubles. She wished for their existence to fade from the memories of the capital. As the 12th lunar month commenced, the long-awaited resettlement of the Cloud Watertown Manor concluded. Accompanied by Ai, Mian Mian, Li Xia, and Li Qiao, Xiao Xian embarked on this significant day. Originally spanning 1,200 mu, Xiao Xian expanded the farm to 1,600 mu after acquiring an additional 400 mu. Over the years, various crops, such as potatoes, strawberries, watermelons, cantaloupes, melons, radishes, and cabbages have been cultivated for sale. Xiao Xian's foresight led him to diversify crops, ensuring sustainability for the future. Given the expansive nature of the manor, Xiao Xian decided against congregating Zheng Sang and the other 70-odd individuals into a single large residence. Instead, he opted to allocate living spaces based on the original households, promoting autonomy. In this vision for the future, each family would lead independent lives, offering mutual support when needed. Xiao Xian recognized that sustaining a harmonious coexistence required a shift from the communal living arrangements of their impoverished past. As prosperity loomed, an individual's ability to earn a livelihood became paramount. The principle of shared efforts would replace indiscriminate compensation, preventing potential conflicts from arising. Understanding the value of the enduring friendships forged over the years, Xiao Xian believed that it was wiser to allow each family to face their challenges independently. This approach, she reasoned, would safeguard the bonds they had cultivated and prevent unnecessary strain on their relationships. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1614. Settled among the assembled families, the composition was diverse. Widows with 1 or 2 children, father-son pairs, couples with children, elderly individuals bereaved of sons in battle, and even the orphans of fallen comrades were present. In total, there were 11 families, with 10 belonging to Xiao Xian, led by individuals such as Zheng Sang, Wu Guan, Lu Changming, and others. The groups included 4 elderly members and 7 orphans. With construction completed, a pair of neat rows of houses flanked the main courtyard of the manor. Under Qiao Xian's guidance and Song's adept management, the decision was made to transform the entire area into a residential zone, allowing for future expansions. The houses, constructed with green bricks and black tiles, featured courtyard walls exceeding a meter in height. Each courtyard, modest in size, comprised a main house with 1 light, 2 dark, and 3 rooms. Additionally, there were 2 rooms, 1 large and 1 small, providing ample living space. Zhang Sang and his companions resided in a more spacious courtyard, boasting larger main rooms, wings, and courtyards compared to the other houses. Outside the courtyards, saplings of sweet osmanthus, magnolia, and pomegranate, each the size of a copper coin, were planted. Additional flowers and plants would be added when spring arrived. The roads surrounding the courtyard were meticulously paved with bricks and stones, preventing muddy conditions during rainy days. A well was strategically placed not far from each family, ensuring convenient access to water. Vegetable plots designated for each family were situated close to their residences. After discussions led by Song Shi, Zhang Sang, and the others, it was decided to allocate approximately 2 plots of land to each family for cultivating essential vegetables to sustain their daily needs. By late November, all the construction of buildings and courtyards had been completed. As the residents of the dilapidated courtyard arrived at their new homes and carriages, carrying their worn-out luggage, a wave of astonishment swept through them. Several women couldn't hold back tears, their emotions mingling between cries and laughter. The children, in contrast, were filled with excitement, running around, screaming, and cheering. Unprecedented happiness enveloped them. This was their new haven, a tidy and pristine abode. As long as they were willing to put in the effort, they could build a life here. The allure was irresistible. A bright and promising future awaited them, a future brimming with hope. This is fantastic. We finally have a proper home. Mom, I love this place so much. He'll work hard. Let's stay here forever, okay? Lord Zhao and Madame Zhao are true bodhisattvas. We must remember their kindness. Absolutely. Lord Zhao and Madame Zhao are kind-hearted people. Anyone who wrongs them is not human. We want to forgive them. Zhang Sang had already assigned living spaces, alleviating any potential conflicts. With joyous hearts, everyone set down their belongings and eagerly inspected their allocated vegetable plots. Though modest in size, these plots were their own. Painstakingly planned and cultivated, they promised a year's worth of sustenance. Warmth filled their hearts. The women wore smiles, already contemplating what to plant in the fields. The houses were furnished with basic items: beds, cabinets, tables, stools. Additional personal touches would be added over time. However, immediate necessities like pots, pans, oil, salt, sauce, and vinegar needed attention. Utilizing some remaining funds, Zhang Sang procured a set for each family. Additionally, he purchased quilts, winter clothes, shoes, socks, and food, ensuring the households were well equipped for their new beginnings. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:15. On the Manor, Song Shi promptly organized their work schedules, which would commence the next day and last for half a month. By the end of the following month, they would receive half a month's salary. The proposal was met with unanimous approval, and everyone expressed their happiness without any objections. Working in the fields proved to be a welcome change from the strenuous labor at the docks and warehouses. Most importantly, the newfound stability allowed them to cast aside worries about the uncertainties of tomorrow. Eager to begin their tasks, everyone couldn't wait to start working. Among them were orphans like Liu Fu, Qing Lian, Yener, and others who live alongside Zhang Sang, Liu Changming, and the rest. The day they moved in, their joy manifested in tireless running around the courtyard. That evening, the communal meal continued, and Song Shi, along with the young steward of the manor, was invited to join. In the courtyard, Zhang Sang and the others cooked diligently. Zhang Sang, determined to make the occasion special, spent money on over 20 caddies of pork, more than 10 caddies of mutton, and 6 chickens. The women, busy in the kitchen, filled the air with laughter and chatter. Despite the simplicity of the setting, the rich fragrance of meat made everyone's mouths water. This feast surpassed even the grandeur of a New Year celebration. The joy of partaking in this sumptuous meal within the spacious and bright new houses fueled optimism for the better days that lay ahead. With this, Zhang Sang and the others officially settled down in the Cloudwater Town Manor. The farm in Cloudwater Town buzzed with liveliness. Songshi, as the chief steward, busily organized and instructed on various matters. In the initial days, he experienced the challenges and joys of overseeing dozens or even hundreds of people. Though fatigued, he found fulfillment in his responsibilities. Unfortunately, the time had come for Lord and Madam to leave the capital to assume their duties, and Songshi, along with Qing Yin, Li Xia, and others, would accompany them on this new journey. It was rumored that the area wasn't ideal, with numerous bandits, but Songshi remained unfazed. His lord and lady were astute and carefree, facing each day with smiles and happiness. As a servant with limited knowledge, he saw no reason for concern. It surely wouldn't pose any problem. Zhang Sang was overjoyed to learn of Qiao Xian's impending visit. With little winter work to occupy them, everyone eagerly awaited Qiao Xian's arrival. As the carriage approached, children ran home shouting, "Madam Xiao is here! Madam Xiao is here!" Families emerged, gathering with smiles and shining eyes to welcome the approaching carriage. "It's really her. I haven't met Madam Xiao yet. Madam Xiao is exceptionally beautiful and amiable. She even brought us candy last time. She's truly wonderful. Absolutely. Madam Xiao is the finest madam I've ever encountered. Oh, you little girl, how many madams have you met?" Laughter ensued. Regardless of the number of people encountered, Madam Xiao undoubtedly stood out as the best. As soon as Qiao Xian stepped off the wagon, someone took the lead. With Zhang Sang and a few others exempted, the rest knelt down. "Madam Xiao, hello, madam. Thank you, madam." Tears welled in the sentimental women's eyes once more. They covered their mouths, choked with emotion. Living a life beyond their wildest dreams, the sight of Qiao Xian filled them with a sense of light and hope. The surge of emotions within their hearts was palpable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:16. Make it clear Qiao Xian lifted the curtain and spotted the crowd eagerly waiting for her. She pondered what to say upon disembarking, but before she could utter a word, they created a heartfelt scene. Surprised, Qiao Xian urged, "Get up, get up." Extending a helping hand, she assisted an elderly lady named Old Lady Zhang, whom she had met in the alley yard the other day. Li Xia and others also aided them to their feet. Moved by the gesture, everyone expressed gratitude to Qiao Xian repeatedly. Laughter and chatter filled the air, creating a lively atmosphere. After a few exchanges, Songshi stepped forward, saying, "It's too cold outside. The house has already been warmed with a charcoal basin and firebed. Madam, please sit inside and chat." Agreeing, everyone followed Qiao Xian to the main courtyard. Once inside the main room, Qiao Xian found herself alone. The others remained on the porch or in the yard beneath the stairs. Li Xia soon emerged, inviting Zhang Sang, Wu Guan, Lu Changming, Grandma Zhang, and around 10 others inside. Smiling, she conveyed Madam's message. "It's cold today, so Madam won't come out. She wants you all to know that, as long as you're willing, you can stay here. If, in the future, you wish to move, build a house, or buy land, that's perfectly fine." Interrupting with smiles, the group reassured, "No, no. As long as Madam doesn't drive us away, we'll stay forever. We'll do whatever Madam wants. Yes, yes. Leaving such a good place is unthinkable. Thank you for your kindness, Madam. This is a blessing for us." And more. Li Xia, with a smile, asked for their attention and continued, "Madam's words stand. you could be at ease. However, Madam wants to emphasize that if you plan to stay long-term, treat this place as your home and protect it. Follow the Manor rules, refrain from actions harmful to Madam, and any betrayal or collusion with outsiders won't be taken lightly. The atmosphere tensed momentarily as everyone briskly nodded in agreement. Absolutely. If anyone betrays, we won't let them off. That's right. We owe Madam too much. Following her instructions is the least we can do. Failing even in that would be disgraceful. If there's a traitor, well, stand against them first. Li Xiao smiled. Madam believes in everyone's integrity. She's merely offering a reminder. Keep it in mind and live peacefully here. All right, that's settled. You can all go now. Agreeing, everyone shared their thoughts. Li Xiao handed 2 packets of pine nuts to Liu Fu and Qing Lian, asking them to distribute them to the children. The kids happily thanked them, cheering at the treat. Gentle smiles adorned the adults' faces, expressing gratitude before departing one by one. Inside the room, Qiao Xian invited everyone to take a seat and had tea served. After some small talk, she inquired about their stay and reiterated the Manor rules. With Qiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan soon departing, uncertainties loomed over those who had accepted their generosity. Addressing potential issues beforehand seemed wiser than dealing with them later. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16-17. I can offer my life for any reasonable person. Hearing her words would bring a sense of reassurance. Qiao Xian feared ambiguity and wanted to avoid confusion. Addressing potential issues in advance, rather than waiting for incidents to occur and reiterating rules, was not only more effective but also prevented blame and resentment. With clarity established, everyone had a clear understanding of their boundaries. They comprehended the conditions for living in this place, knowing what actions were acceptable and what were not. Zheng Sang and others agreed, recognizing the wisdom in this approach. They promised to explain it to everyone upon their return. Smiling, Qiao Xian said, Brother Zheng, we trust you to look after this place in our absence. The money you have should suffice for their winter needs, especially with the recent half-month salary. In the future, monthly income will ensure their lives are not difficult. Qiao Xian inquired about patients requiring long-term medication. Brother Zheng, discuss with Songshi and provide me a list. They'll cover the treatment costs. If good medicine can expedite recovery, let me know. It's better to heal as soon as possible. For those needing extended recuperation, inform me of the required medicine and prescription. Ensure timely medication in the future. Upon hearing this, Zheng Sang and others looked up in disbelief. Wu Guan, with a trembling voice, asked, Madam Zhao, is this true? Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. Certainly. Why would I deceive you? Wu Guan, overwhelmed, rubbed his face and uttered in a hoarse voice, But that will cost a lot of money. We can't afford it all. In this life, in the next life, hailing from impoverished backgrounds and having faced life and death on the battlefield, they had limited knowledge beyond warfare. Despite surviving, their bodies bore the scars of disability, complicating their ability to earn a living. All future prospects seemed bleak for them. Left with a meager pension, departing the military camp, they faced the harsh reality of their limited skills and lack of managerial knowledge, predicting a challenging future. Adopting the orphans, women, and elderly of their fallen comrades was even more daunting. Driven by a sense of camaraderie and survival, they endured for many years, clinging to the hope of a cure despite their financial struggles. Expressing their desperation, Qiao Xian sighed, I will cover the expenses and you don't need to repay me. We've known each other as friends, and it seems like fate. My husband's brother is also in the camp. Consider it a blessing for him. Don't feel burdened, just accept it. Their surprise was evident. Lu Changming inquired cautiously, but, Madam Zhao, doctor mentioned it would cost hundreds of taels of silver for the cure. Others might need substantial payments. Nervously, Wu Guan and the others turned to Qiao Xian for confirmation. Qiao Xian smiled, reassuring them, Certainly, I can afford hundreds or even thousands of taels. Really, that's fantastic. Thank you, Madame Qiao. Madame Qiao is truly a living bodhisattva. Joy enveloped everyone. Zhang Sang rose and bowed to Qiao Xian, hands folded in front of his chest. Madam, my life belongs to you and my lord. Whatever you ask of me, I will do. Count us in. Wu Guan and Lu Chaming declared without hesitation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:18. Uninvited guest. This turn of events caught Qiao Xian off guard, leaving her momentarily speechless. Regaining composure, she raised her hand with a smile. Brother Zhang, you're too serious. It's our fate, and this is nothing. In the future, just live in peace. If there's a need, don't hesitate. Zhang Sang nodded. If you need anything, madam and lord, don't stand on ceremony. That's right, Wu Guan chimed in. Whatever it is, we're willing. Qiao Xian chuckled. After discussing some family matters, she dismissed them. Rushing to their families, Zhang Sang and the others shared the news that Qiao Xian would cover the treatment costs for their ailing comrades. Overjoyed, tears flowed, and they hastened to express gratitude to Qiao Xian. Intent on kowtowing, the women were stopped by Li Xia and others. Qiao Xian comforted them, understanding the depth of their emotions. She hoped that in the future, they wouldn't let each other down. Leading Li Xia and others around the village, Qiao Xian was accompanied by Liu Fu, Qing Lian, and the other children, who, emboldened by her gentle demeanor, began chatting around her. Witnessing this, other children joined in, and Qiao Xian, known for her kindness towards children, took them around before bringing them back for lunch. Enlisting the help of the servants' daughters-in-law, they prepared steaming meat buns, plump and fragrant with the tempting aroma of fresh white flour. The children eagerly awaited, and upon Qiao Xian's cue, they joyfully rushed forward to savor the delicious treat. Qiao Xian instructed the kitchen to prepare a variety of nonchalant, casual, and indifferent dishes, creating a lively atmosphere. Upon discovering the gesture, everyone expressed gratitude and recited Buddhist scriptures, feeling fortunate to have encountered someone as kind as Madame Qiao. Qiao Xian happily spent half a day in the farmland before returning to the city. The children enthusiastically ran alongside the wagon until they were far away. Li Xia and the others shared the joy, remarking on the increased number of people in the manor, making it look more like a true manor. Returning home around 4 in the afternoon, Qiao Xian brought fresh radishes, cabbages, eggs, and fish from the village. Planning a delightful dinner, she prepared braised fish, lamb stew with radishes, and vinegar cabbage. As thoughts turned to dinner, an unexpected guest arrived, elder Miss Tian Shan, whom Qiao Xian hadn't seen in a long time. With a guarded stance, Qiao Xian didn't allow her and her servant into the house. Instead, she invited Tian Shan to a private room in a nearby tea house. Despite feeling slighted by Qiao Xian's guarded actions, Tian Shan remained composed, concealing any displeasure. Maintaining a sense of superiority, she refrained from arguing with Qiao Xian, think that she is unworthy. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16:19. Interesting. Tian Shan couldn't care less about Qiao Xian, but the reality of being outshone by someone she dismissed bothered her. Seeing Qiao Xian almost made her lose composure as a noble lady of the capital. Miss Tian, what brings you here? Tian Shan glanced at Qiao Xian before stating, Lord Qiao has been assigned to An's province. Madam Qiao, do you comprehend the nature of An's province? Qiao Xian felt a surge of disgust. She never liked Tian Shan, and it was challenging to remain calm in the face of a woman who repeatedly coveted her husband. Even if the words sounded ordinary, Qiao Xian couldn't shake the feeling of an underlying meaning. Furthermore, the words were abnormal. With a half-smile, Qiao Xian retorted, Miss Tian, you're not entitled to inquire about this, are you? It's none of your concern. Tian Shan embarrassed and infuriated, sneered, "It appears you are ignorant of that place. An's province is infested with bandits. Countless criminals, having committed various crimes, reside in the rugged mountains. They've established themselves as lords of the mountains, becoming a formidable criminal force. Rampant violence, arson, routine for them. They consistently oppose the government. Lord Qiao, as an official, there will achieve nothing. Merely keeping his life is already a feat, Madam Qiao. Are you still so confident?" Qiao Xian seethed with anger. Tian Shanshan's condescending tone portrayed her as an ignorant fool. Who gave her the right to look down on others like this? Remaining silent, Qiao Xian's apparent restraint fueled Tian Shanshan's pride as she mentioned, "The official transfer order hasn't been officially issued yet, providing a chance to alter it." Having uttered her words, Tian Shanshan shot a glance at Qiao Xian. She deliberately left the statement incomplete, hoping Qiao Xian would plead with her. After a moment's contemplation, Qiao Xian inquired, "Is there any way?" She played along. "Fuer," Tian Shanshan's maid scoffed. "This is no trivial matter. Except for my miss, no one else will assist you." "But why should my miss help you?" "Madam Qiao, do you grasp my point?" Qiao Xian responded, "Miss Tian, why don't you enlighten me? I don't quite understand your implications." Qiao Xian believed her response was suitably cooperative. Fuer cast a contemptuous glance, internally musing, "What an idiot. She's utterly clueless. Why would Lord Qiao choose such a wife? If you insist, then it'll be straightforward. You are not worthy of Lord Qiao. Why not dissolve the marriage directly? Since Lord Qiao treats you well and is now facing trouble, you should do something in return, shouldn't you? Otherwise, it would be too selfish. You'd be letting Lord Qiao down." Tian Shanshan calmly added, "Madam Qiao, An's province isn't fit for humans, and the bandits don't get along with authorities. I doubt you want to go there either. Official status is prestigious, but when weighed against your life, what's more crucial? You may not understand the meaning of going to An's province. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1620. Am not choosing. Tian Shanshan patiently recounted the bandit atrocities in An's province, describing the killings in detail, while Qiao Xian silently listened. However, in truth, Qiao Xian was already well aware of the events Tian Shanshan described. Many of them were not as recent or severe as Tian Shanshan portrayed. Some dated back a decade. Yet, Tian Shanshan presented them as recent occurrences. Upon concluding her account, Fuer sneered, "Madam Qiao, do you grasp the current situation? Only our miss is willing to aid Lord Qiao. You don't really have a choice, do you?" Qiao Xian cast a glance at her. "No need." Fuer displayed a smug smile, but Qiao Xian clarified, "I'm not making any choice." "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Qiao Xian regarded them with an odd look. "Are you expecting me to make a choice? That's absurd. Why should I make a choice?" Fuer retorted in frustration. "Don't you care about Lord Qiao's life? He's risking everything. It's not your place to make such statements. Be cautious with your words. I trust my husband's judgment. If he's willing to go to An's province, then he can. Even if there are issues, my husband will handle them. What's the matter with a few bandits? They were only bold because they never encounter my husband. When he arrives, their good days will be over. They'll kneel and plead for mercy." Tian Shanshan and Fuer were left speechless. How could there be someone so blindly confident and naive? Fuer scornfully remarked, "You dare to think like that?" Qiao Xian asserted proudly, "I have full confidence in my husband's capabilities." Fuer stared at her, holding back her desire to mock Xiao Yinduan. She shot a glare at Qiao Xian instead. Qiao Xian rose slowly. "Let's just pretend Miss Tian never visited me." As Qiao Xian left, Tian Shanshan's face turned crimson with embarrassment, anger, and frustration. "She's so ignorant and arrogant." Fuer scoffed, advising softly, "That foolish woman knows nothing. Miss, don't stoop to her level. I think she did it on purpose. Humph, she deliberately provoked you to upset you." Tian Shanshan smiled coldly, and said slowly, "You're correct about one thing. She wants to make me feel uncomfortable, but you're mistaken. She's not foolish. I believe she's clever." Tian Shanshan seemed to have grasped something. A woman like Qiao Xian, who devoted herself entirely to her husband, would easily capture men like Xiao Yunduan. She had given it her all. No wonder Lord Xiao refused to let her go. However, a woman like her was destined to be shallow. In the future, when Lord Xiao's interest waned, he would find her dull, and she would no longer capture his attention. But how much longer would she have to endure? From her persistent infatuation to her inability to break free, she could no longer turn back, nor did she desire to. Unable to convince Qiao Xian, Tian Shanshan decided to approach Xiao Yunduan herself. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1621. As long as cousin becomes the Emperor, Xiao Yunduan was perplexed. He had no desire to engage with Tian Shanshan. Spotting her, he swiftly turned away, intending to leave. Tian Shanshan felt extreme pain and embarrassment. Was she so repulsive in his eyes? He avoided her as if she were a venomous snake or a ferocious beast. Proud and arrogant, she couldn't tolerate such humiliation. Shocked and fueled by her competitive spirit, Tian Shanshan had to intercept Xiao Yunduan. Although he was stopped, Xiao Yunduan didn't engage in much conversation with Tian Shanshan. His eyes betrayed a clear disgust, nearly causing her to lose her composure. Despite being halted, Xiao Yunduan didn't entertain any discussion of his upcoming role as an official in An's province. He didn't need her so-called good intentions and didn't want to hear them. Shortly after, he decisively left. Tian Shanshan's well-intentioned efforts went to waste. Returning home in anger and humiliation, she harbored intense resentment toward Xiao Xian. Vowing to make Xiao Xian kneel before her one day, she sought to claim everything Xiao Yunduan had done for her today. As long as her cousin ascended to the throne, everything would change dramatically. She didn't believe Xiao Yunduan would dare to resist. Tian Shanshan's heart burned anew. While Tian Shanshan's actions had no impact on Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, the crown prince, hearing about it, grew displeased. He had been anticipating Xiao Yunduan to plead for him, but it never happened. He could no longer wait, so he subtly signaled his two young officers, who had joined him along with Xiao Yunduan, to talk with Xiao Yunduan. If Xiao Yunduan was in a bad mood, they were to try persuading him. The crown prince aimed to convince Xiao Yunduan to yield to his wishes. He also communicated that he had been patiently waiting for Xiao Yunduan to acquiesce. However, to the crown prince's surprise, the two young officers harbored long-standing animosity toward Xiao Yunduan. Fearing that he might plead with the crown prince, they deliberately provoked him. They had no intention of following the crown prince's instructions to make Xiao Yunduan give in. The two officers went to Xiao Yunduan, delivering the opposite message. They mocked and taunted him, attempting to ensure he didn't change his mind. Xiao Yunduan observed the theatrical performance put on by the two officers. In front of the crown prince, the two officers naturally had another pretext. The crown prince, displeased that Xiao Yunduan seemed oblivious to his clear intentions despite expressing goodwill, grew frustrated. When he heard that Tian family's elder miss had approached the officers, the crown prince dismissed it without much thought. Could Xiao Yunduan have secretly aligned with the fourth brother? Was he colluding with the fourth brother? Furious and disappointed, the crown prince decided to no longer concern himself with the matter. If Xiao Yunduan wanted to go to An's province, so be it. The crown prince was determined to see if Xiao Yunduan's reputation would be tarnished or if he would even lose his life there. Only then would he gauge Xiao Yunduan's true strength. Princess Consort, feeling sorry for the crown prince, obediently sided with him. To comfort him, she fabricated negative stories about Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. She even mentioned with a smile that young Master Xie had developed a close relationship with her nephew, engaging in discussions about poetry and paintings with a group of scholars in the mountain courtyard. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1622. There's no one. It was evident that young Master Xie harbored a sincere desire to become an official. This realization brought relief to the Crown Prince. If he could secure Eldest young Master Xie's loyalty, it would be a beneficial acquisition. Crown Prince requested Princess Consort to extend an invitation to Mr. Xie to visit the East Palace as a guest. However, Xie Jingrong declined, vaguely stating that it wasn't the right time yet. Interpreting this as a sign of agreement, the Crown Prince decided to patiently await the opportune moment. Feeling reassured, the Crown Prince looked forward to the upcoming new year. As anticipated by Qiao Xian and Xiao Yinduan, no guests or well-wishers visited them this year. Those who had turned snobbish and considered Xiao Yinduan unworthy of friendship abstained, and some even reveled in the idea of celebrating the occasion with fireworks. For those who wished to avoid trouble, reaching out to Xiao Yunduan could potentially incur the East Palace and Fourth Prince's displeasure. Preferring to steer clear of any complications, they chose to sever ties with him altogether. In a light-hearted manner, Qiao Xian teased Xiao Yunduan, turning the situation into an amusing interlude for the couple. As the new year approached, Qiao Xian decided to keep a low profile even in purchasing festive items. She discreetly instructed Li Xia, Li Qiao, and Songshi to procure necessary items for the new year in a modest manner, ensuring it was sufficient. Qiao Xian wanted to avoid appearing overly joyful or indifferent during this period, as it could potentially lead to unnecessary troubles and grievances in their lives. It was a precautionary measure to maintain harmony in their surroundings. Qiao Xian promptly instructed Songshi and Qingyan to purchase the promised New Year goods for each family in Cloudwater Town, ensuring everyone received their fair share. The newly arrived families, including Zheng Sang's group, were not left behind. Out of compassion for the elderly, young, and her former comrades who were sick or childless, Qiao Xian requested Songshi to provide them with a more substantial New Year's gift, recognizing their need for additional support. New Year's Eve unfolded as scheduled. The small courtyard was adorned with the warm glow of 2 rows of red lanterns, casting a festive and gentle ambience into the night. The brazier inside the house emanated a lively warmth, turning the brick bed into a cozy haven reminiscent of spring when the door was closed. Amid the festive atmosphere, the small group celebrated the arrival of the new year with joy. The imminent departure from the capital after the new year brought a sense of relaxation, particularly for Qiao Xian. Despite lingering concerns about the dream involving the Crown Prince, she focused on the present and embraced the freedom that awaited her beyond the capital. With the new year underway, Xiao Yunduan completed the handover of responsibilities with the Ministry of Revenue officials, leaving him with newfound freedom. Deciding to forego attending court sessions, he opted to stay home with Qiao Xian. The couple expressed their desire to explore Cloudwater Town and its surroundings, visiting neighboring towns and exploring scenic mountains, rivers, and ancient temples. They were aware that once they departed, returning to the capital might be uncertain. While initially contemplating a stroll around the capital together, they dismissed the idea, considering it might appear too open. Instead, they focused on savoring the peaceful moments in Cloudwater Town before they finally left. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1623. Invitation. The two had initially planned to depart from the city after the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year. However, their intentions took an unexpected turn when they received an invitation on the 2nd day from the 4th Princess Consort. The invitation was for a banquet scheduled on the 6th day of the Lunar New Year. This unexpected development piqued their interest. Apparently, the eunuch delivering the invitation had received explicit instructions from the 4th Princess Consort. In a shrill voice, he conveyed, "The Princess Consort insists that Madame Xiao must attend. No excuses will be entertained. Failure to comply will displease the Princess Consort." Xiao Xian responded with a smile. Addressing Xiao Yunduan's father-in-law, please convey my gratitude to the fourth princess consort. I am truly honored that she still thinks of me during this time. I am delighted and see no reason to decline. Yes, absolutely. Xiao Xian's expression, conveying a sense of honored acceptance, left the young eunuch feeling as though his words had fallen on deaf ears. Here to witness the spectacle and perhaps revel in their discomfort, the young eunuch couldn't shake the feeling of being observed. Excellent. Madam Xiao, remember that. He warned. He unforgettable, absolutely unforgettable. Bah! The young eunuch departed with a sullen expression, but Xiao Xian's sneer spoke volumes. In your dreams, the fourth princess consort might have aimed to mock and humiliate her, relishing in her embarrassment, but Xiao Xian had no intention of letting it affect her. Still, she couldn't deny that dealing with such matters was a headache. Xiao Yunduan, holding her hands, offered a reassuring smile. My wife, just go and enjoy the spectacle. Xiao Xian looked up at him, reciprocating the smile. Indeed, that seems to be the only way. The couple grinned at each other. After a brief exchange of words, both of them began to ease up. Xiao Yunduan expressed, it would not be wise for you to decline. Considering we are departing the capital, I doubt the fourth princess consort would risk causing unnecessary trouble. Rest assured, my wife. Internally, Xiao Xian mused, I am not concerned at all. Attending banquets is her specialty. Yes, don't worry, husband. Yet, a sigh escaped her as she added, in that case, our visit to Cloud Watertown tomorrow will have to be postponed. Xiao Yunduan burst into laughter. Even if you go in a few days, it'll be the same. Spend a few more days here to make up for the ones we missed. Xiao Xian chuckled. On the 6th day of the Lunar New Year, Xiao Xian accompanied Liu to the fourth prince's mansion. This time, the situation took an interesting turn. The fourth prince's household staff guided her through the residence, making numerous twists and turns before leading her to a flower hall, instructing her to wait. It was evident they intentionally left her there. The reception hall lacked the warmth of a heated brick bed or a charcoal basin. Its cold and austere atmosphere was accentuated by its emptiness. Besides Xiao Xian and her servant, there was no one present. Given the pleasant weather, Xiao Xian decided to take advantage of it and brought Li Xia to the courtyard to enjoy the sunshine. In the yard, 2 robust and ancient winter plum trees blossomed at the perfect time. The golden flowers on the branches sparkled in the bright sunlight, and the fragrance filled the air, providing a refreshing sensation. While admiring the flowers and conversing with Li Xia, Xiao Xian activated her superpower to eavesdrop on the ongoings within the mansion. A cacophony of noises reached her ears, prompting Xiao Xian to retract her superpower. Utilizing it in a bustling environment proved challenging due to the myriad voices and incessant noise. The residents lacked the tranquility necessary for effective use, a drawback that made Xiao Xian feel lightheaded after a prolonged attempt. This superpower, she realized, was better suited for information gathering in open landscapes and wilderness rather than crowded places. However, within the mansion, the only discernible sounds were servants gossiping, various discussions, and envy expressed toward the madams and young ladies attending the banquet. Amidst the chatter, there were also whispers of mockery and gloating aimed at Xiao Xian. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1624. The open Gambit. Xiao Xian and her servant engaged in conversation until a maid arrived. Casting a stiff glance at them, she declared, Madam Xiao, please come with me. Returning the look with a smile, Xiao Xian replied, then please lead the way. Assuming that decorum would prevail in the fourth prince's mansion, the maid proudly guided them, raising her chin with an air of superiority. Li Xia, feeling indignant, sought solace in her madam's gaze. Xiao Xian, shaking her head with a smile, signaled for Li Xia not to be bothered. Li Xia pursed her lips and lowered her eyes, resigned to the snobbish attitude. Upon arriving at the hall where the guests had congregated, the opulent and spacious room teemed with people. With Qiao Xian and her servant being the last to arrive, the madams and young ladies, engaged in cheerful conversations, collectively turned their attention toward them. A smile adorned their lips, and their eyes sparkled with anticipation, a clear indication that they were eager for spectacle. Once a figure of envy and glory, Madame Zhao now found herself the object of their gloating pleasure. The sudden intrusion of someone who did not originally belong to their social circle, now seizing their coveted position, fueled their delight. In their eyes, it seemed normal for this turn of events. Furthermore, they collectively concluded and sighed. This is the consequence of lacking a foundation. Everything is superficial, and chaos is inevitable. Princess Consort's expression soured the moment she laid eyes on Qiao Xian. Subconsciously clenching her fists, embarrassment painted her face. Why was she here? Princess Consort harbored no desire to see Qiao Xian at all. Observing Princess Consort's reaction, the fourth Princess Consort was taken aback. She had deliberately invited Qiao Xian to surprise Princess Consort, who was known to dislike her. However, Princess Consort's response appeared to be more extreme than expected. Qiao Xian, a perfect match for the Crown Prince's hypocritical and pretentious demeanor, displayed composure, contrasting sharply with Princess Consort's overt displeasure. The revelation hinted at a strained relationship between Zhao Yunduan and the East Palace. Greetings, Crown Princess Consort. Greetings, Princess Consorts. Qiao Xian approached, bowing respectfully. Despite her tense demeanor, Princess Consort maintained a dignified tone. No need to stand on ceremony. Thank you, Princess Consort. A lady in attendance remarked with a half-smile. Madame Zhao, you are so audacious. Princess Consort and the other princes and princesses are here, and Madame Zhao arrives late. The other ladies quickly chimed in agreement. That's right. Her rudeness is unacceptable. Lacking manners is in her nature. You can't expect more. You can't excuse her behavior. She should respect her seniors and adhere to proper etiquette. This is unacceptable. If you are ignorant, it's better to stay home and avoid embarrassing yourself. She's only here because she won't have another chance in the future. That's the truth. Princess Consort's displeasure deepened, and she glared disapprovingly at Qiao Xian. Her sense of disgust was palpable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1625. Looking for Trouble MS. Qiao had fallen out of favor with the Crown Prince due to Zhao Yunduan's influence, foreclosing any prospects for her in the royal court. In response, she contemplated a vindictive course of action, intending to unveil her true nature. How audacious! Qiao Xian cast a glance at the fourth Princess Consort, who had been gleefully witnessing the spectacle, letting others mock her. Ladies, don't envy me. The fourth Princess Consort treats me differently. The servants were leading me to another resting area, causing the delay. Princess Consort, please forgive me. The fourth Princess Consort chuckled. I think I led you the wrong way. My apologies, Madame Zhao. Fourth Princess Consort, your understanding is appreciated. Smiling, the fourth Princess Consort gestured. Madame Zhao, please take a seat. Thank you, fourth Princess Consort. As Qiao Xian settled into her seat, she overheard a sneer. Even if the servants misdirected you, can't you inquire? The fourth Princess Consort is hosting a banquet, attended by the Princess Consort and other royals. Could you not fathom this? Your lack of decorum is truly unbecoming. You'll be an eyesore in the future. Exactly. Amidst laughter and conversation, the atmosphere grew lively. However, at this juncture, everyone seemed to collectively forget about Qiao Xian, deliberately ignoring her. No one engaged in conversation with her. These were individuals from respected families, adept at subtle forms of cruelty. Rather than resorting to crass insults or attacks, they chose a more refined approach. Their familiarity with each other allowed them to inflict discomfort through complete indifference and disdain. This mental humiliation and subtle torment, though devoid of physical harm, proved potent enough to make one wish to disappear into the ground. Despite Xiao Xian's strong mental fortitude, impatience began to gnaw at her. Stuck in the situation, leaving early wasn't an option, forcing her to endure the discomfort. After some time, the fourth princess consort announced with a smile that the theater was prepared, leading the guests to enjoy the show. Praises for the well-organized spectacle flowed, fostering a sense of anticipation. The fourth princess consort basked in the satisfaction of her guests. Xiao Xian followed the group with Li Xia. While she wasn't particularly fond of watching the show, it was preferable to enduring the incessant chatter. As they moved, someone in the crowd shoved Li Xia from behind. Caught off guard, Li Xia let out a scream as she collided with a young lady in front of her. The young lady, initially engaged in light banter, nearly stumbled and screamed in shock. Recovering, she turned around to find, I'm sorry. Li Xia apologized earnestly. Before she could elaborate, the young lady raised her eyebrows and slapped Lixia's face, unleashing an angry tirade. You unruly wretch! What has your master taught you? The commotion drew the attention of everyone present. Covering her face, Li Xia defended herself. It was unintentional. How dare you? How dare you be so defiant? Xiao Xian took hold of Li Xia and noticed her face reddening. Gently patting her hand, she addressed the enraged lady. Li Xia inadvertently offended you, and you have scolded and struck her. What more do you seek? Being framed, Li Xia knew explaining herself would be futile. Accusations would only escalate, and she opted not to waste her efforts. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, the lady glared, sneering, What's this? Madam Xiao, are you implying dissatisfaction? Like mistress, like servant, haha. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1626. Ridicule. Xiao Xian retorted, Madam Tian, you're correct. I am not convinced. She is my servant, and you have no authority over her. Madam Tian, you're well-versed in rules and etiquette, so I must inquire, whose rules are these? Are they yours? You, as the onlookers had anticipated Xiao Xian and her servant facing retribution at the hands of Madam Tian, Xiao Xian, with just a few words, effectively countered the second young Madam Tian. The audience, who had initially doubted Xiao Xian's suitability among them, were now focused on discussions about rules and etiquette. Mocking Xiao Xian seemed to elevate their sense of superiority. Though Xiao Xian directed her words at Madame Tian, some other ladies couldn't help but feel a twinge of annoyance and embarrassment. Recognizing the potential for an escalating confrontation, one individual stepped forward and pulled the second young madam of the Tian family aside, attempting to mediate. Let it go. The girl acted impulsively. It's all right to teach her a lesson. No need to be so upset. Exactly. Escalating the situation won't help. Why let it go that far? Let's not engage in further argument. To be fair, Madame Xiao might have been a bit harsh. The actions and words of the young Madame Tian were likely reflexive. Madame Xiao shouldn't have criticized her so vehemently. That's right. Who wouldn't react strongly when startled? If it were Madame Xiao, the response might have been even more intense. Madame Xiao is known for her sharp tongue. This is quite evident. It's clear your servant made a mistake. Instead of offering an apology, you seem to be shifting blame onto others. Shouldn't Madame Xiao be the one apologizing? Besides, she won't care about that. Li Xiao was both angry and anxious, tears welling up as she looked at Xiao Xian with concern. Madame was defending her, which warmed her heart. However, she hadn't expected the situation to unfold like this. The matter clearly had nothing to do with Madame. She had been targeted in a scheme. Yet, these people were distorting the truth and acting self-righteous. If Li Xia didn't know her master's character so well, she would rather apologize herself than witness her madam endure such injustices. Xiao Xian, however, wasn't about to let Li Xia shoulder the blame. She sneered, I'm not as adept at playing the blame game as many people here. I don't know if you're scared or not, but let me ask you this. If you accidentally kill someone out of shock, does that mean the authorities will excuse you? Is that not considered murder? A person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions, instead finding excuses left and right. Even when in the wrong, they still try to justify it. I don't understand how someone can have the audacity to speak of rules and etiquette. Or perhaps you're relying on the strength of your numbers, declaring rules and etiquette while tarnishing the very essence of those words. No matter how wrong my servant may be, I will be the one to reprimand them. But hitting and scolding without explanation is shameless. Correcting my servant's mistake and dealing with those who meddle without permission are entirely separate matters. Don't conflate them. All of you make it sound so animated. Let me pose a question. If your servant makes a mistake, should others be allowed to casually and indifferently reprimand them? The ladies seethed with anger, yet fear of Qiao Xian's sharp tongue silenced them. They dared not utter a word, lest they face further humiliation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1627. Revenge. The second, young Madame Tian, had been enjoying the support from those defending her, feeling a sense of pride. However, Qiao Xian's cutting remarks infuriated her to the point of outburst. Who do you think you are? If you can't teach me, we'll be the one teaching you, given how highly you think of yourself. You're becoming increasingly audacious. Qiao Xian looked at her and remarked, Second young Madame Tian, your manners and etiquette are truly admirable. I'm truly impressed. You, forget it. Someone quickly intervened, pulling second young Madame Tian aside and offering soft advice. Why stoop to the level of someone like her? Let go. You're magnanimous. Don't say too much. Just then, Princess Consort and fourth Princess Consort sent someone to inquire about the situation. Attempting to downplay the matter, everyone put on smiles, eager to avoid further complications. Most importantly, they were well aware that they were in the wrong. Being unreasonable was one thing, but challenging Qiao Xian was another matter entirely. They knew they couldn't win. The embarrassment was palpable. While they suspected the fourth Princess Consort might take pleasure in seeing Qiao Xian face adversity, they hadn't wronged her before and felt too awkward to voice their opinions. The person seeking information wisely chose not to delve into the matter. It was the first month of the lunar calendar, a time for harmony and auspicious celebrations. Stirring up trouble was ill-advised. Consequently, the group proceeded ahead, deliberately ignoring Qiao Xian this time. They quickened their pace and maintained a distance from her and Li Xia. Li Xia, seething with anger, whispered to Qiao Xian, Madam, these people are intolerable. Despite their claims of having manners, is this how they treat others? Qiao Xian smiled and shared with Li Xia. They treat people differently from us. We value treating people well, but they prioritize wielding power. Li Xia was taken aback, covering her mouth as she chuckled. Qiao Xian joined in the laughter. The silly girl had a generous heart, and that pleased Qiao Xian. Is your face okay? Li Xia shook her head hastily. I'm fine. It's my fault for involving you. Don't be silly. It's not about you. What happens to me has nothing to do with you. Don't be upset. These people will face consequences. Li Xia nodded, finding solace in Madame's reassurance. Little did she know that retribution would come sooner than expected. With the theater arranged, everyone took their seats. The prince's concubines engaged in lively conversations, choosing scenes for themselves. The madams of higher status also selected scenes. The troupe promptly began performing according to the script. Qiao Xian cast a glance at the trees in the yard outside the opera house, a cunning smile flickering across her eyes. Having developed and evolved persistently, she could now control plants to a certain extent without direct contact. Although the range of this control was smaller without direct touch, it proved convenient. While an outdoor setting would yield a better effect, the indoor theater was sufficient for Qiao Xian's purposes. Engrossed in the unfolding performance on stage, everyone's attention was captivated. Even the maidservants and older women standing behind, at the sides, and along the corridor outside craned their necks to catch a glimpse of the stage. Unbeknownst to anyone, the previously bare and gray branches of a crabapple tree in the West Mansion courtyard, with a diameter exceeding 20 centimeters, were gradually sprouting visible buds. These buds expanded, transformed into delicate pink blossoms, and slowly opened, revealing their vibrant hues, one by one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1628. Blossom. The entire transformation took less than 3 minutes. The once gray and barren crabapple tree now burst into a profusion of flowers. Pink blossoms densely adorned the branches, creating a breathtaking spectacle. The trees were now adorned with flowers, creating a vision of clouds. From a distance, it resembled a pink cloud gently swaying in the breeze under the bright sunlight. A truly beautiful sight. Once everything was accomplished, Qiao Xian retracted her power. Shortly after, exclamations filled the air. "Ah, it's blooming. Look, it's blooming. What? Can you believe it? The crabapple tree, it's blooming. Ah, heavens, am I hallucinating? It was completely bare just a moment ago. I didn't imagine it. How is this possible? It's so peculiar. Heavenly Bodhisattva." The maidservants on the corridor were utterly astonished, their worldviews on the verge of shattering. Witnessing what seemed like a miracle, they couldn't contain their excitement, engaging in nonstop discussions. Caught up in their astonishment, the maidservants momentarily forgot themselves. Their animated conversation quickly drew the attention of those inside the opera house. Frowning, they went out to scold the maidservants, stern expressions on their faces. The maidservants, eager to share their discovery, all talked at once, pointing excitedly at the splendid crabapple tree bathed in sunlight. Witnessing the transformation, the maids and other servants couldn't help but widen their eyes and exclaim, "Ah!" Some of the elder ones even doubted their eyesight due to age and hastily rubbed their eyes, peering closely to ensure they weren't seeing things. The esteemed Auntie Tang stammered, "When did these flowers bloom? Why wasn't it reported earlier?" All the maidservants burst into laughter. "You got it wrong. The flowers just bloomed. We just noticed." "That can't be possible." "It's true, Auntie Tang. When the masters entered the opera house, there was nothing there. There's no reason for all of us to see and remember wrongly." "What?" Auntie Tang sought repeated confirmations. Eventually, she sighed, exchanging bewildered glances with the others. While it might be conceivable for one person to misperceive, or even 2 or 3 to overlook something, it defied belief that a group of 20 to 30 people could collectively misjudge and misremember such a sight. Auntie Tang was about to head into the opera house to report to the 4th princess consort when a commotion reached her ears. It appeared that a lady inside had inadvertently turned her head toward the row window and spotted the pink and beautiful crabapple flowers. She cried out in surprise, capturing everyone's attention. The allure of this sight far surpassed the scenes unfolding on stage. Now all eyes were on the blossoms. The maidservants promptly hushed, retreating to the side obediently. However, their eyes sparkled with excitement. They had never witnessed or even heard of such an extraordinary phenomenon. Sharing this story with their companions, especially those in other residences, might be met with disbelief. Princess Consort, 4th Princess Consort, and the others approached, gazing up at the pink and plump flowers on the trees. Exclamations of awe escaped their lips. A lady broke into a smile, declaring, "This is a joyous occasion, a joyous occasion. It's a tremendous auspicious sign. It signifies that the 4th Prince's residence is rich in vital energy and blessed by the heavens." All the madams and young ladies beamed, joining in the sentiment. Absolutely. The crabapple tree is a symbol of wealth, auspiciousness, and prosperity. At this moment, while flowers elsewhere remain unopened, the fourth prince's residence is already in full bloom. Truly remarkable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1629, A Fortune. These flowers, grass, and trees hold spiritual significance. Look at the vitality of these begonia flowers. The fourth prince's residence is sure to be blessed this year. It's an auspicious sign. Yes, the sentiments of everyone resonated with the fourth princess consort, filling her with joy. In contrast, the princess consort's face contorted with anger and disbelief as she glared at the blooming flowers. Good omen? Good luck? Spiritual presence in flowers and trees? Omens? The prince was born into the prosperous Tian family, and their wealth was already substantial. What more auspicious signs did the fourth prince desire? What additional good luck did he seek? Were they insinuating rebellion? But why, of all places, did such a favorable event occur in the fourth prince's residence? Even if the flowers and trees possessed life, the spiritual essence should reside in the crown prince's abode. The flattering and laughter from the ladies felt like sharp needles, each word piercing princess consort's heart. She could ignore other matters. They were inconsequential. However, she would not tolerate anything that cast doubt on the crown prince's position. Unable to endure it any longer, Princess Consort spoke calmly. It's bitterly cold, so why is the crabapple tree suddenly blooming? Moreover, it would be understandable if just one or two branches were in bloom, but the entire tree covered in flowers is certainly not normal. Besides, I distinctly recall that the crabapple tree showed no signs of blooming when we passed by earlier. In such a short time, how could it? It's truly peculiar. A hush fell over the crowd, the smiles fading from their faces. Most had come to realize the inappropriateness of praising the fourth prince's mansion in front of the princess consort. A sense of unease spread among the assembly. The madams and young madams of the Tian family, who had been the most fervent in their praise, now felt a heightened sense of discomfort. Guiltily, they lowered their heads and averted their eyes. The fourth princess consort's smile froze in response. Princess consort, on the other hand, felt a surge of satisfaction. She smiled and quipped to the fourth princess consort. Have you orchestrated something to bring such joy to everyone? Internally seething, the fourth princess consort had no intention of mocking anyone, especially not the princess consort. How would I know? The crabapple tree clearly bloomed. I find it quite beautiful. There's nothing strange about it. The world is filled with all sorts of peculiarities. What's the harm if a tree decides to bloom? I find Adam's reasoning quite plausible. This area likely boasts favorable terrain with abundant energy veins. The recent sunny weather and warmth have prompted the blooming, haven't they? She was not afraid of Princess Consort like others might be. It was a propitious omen, and she saw no reason to downplay it. Envy flashed in Princess Consort's eyes at the auspicious sign bestowed upon the fourth prince's mansion. However, her envy meant little. While simmering with fury internally, Princess Consort managed to maintain a composed demeanor. She smiled and remarked, "Fourth sister-in-law, your explanation seems rather baseless. If this location truly enjoys favorable conditions and warmth, there should be more than one crabapple tree here. Why is this the sole blooming tree? It doesn't add up." Furthermore, as we passed by earlier, this crabapple tree was still barren. Not a single flower bud was visible. The sudden burst of blossoms doesn't make sense. In my opinion, this is highly unorthodox. A momentary unease settled over the crowd, their expressions subtly shifting. Deep down, they found themselves increasingly aligned with Princess Consort's perspective. Indeed, this whole thing appeared highly weird. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1630. Too strange. The fourth princess consort erupted in anger and retorted with a change in expression. Sister-in-law, what do you mean? It's the first month of the lunar calendar. Who are you cursing? Seeing the fourth princess consort lose her composure, Princess Consort felt a surge of satisfaction. She spoke in a calm and sincere tone. Fourth sister-in-law, am not cursing anyone. I'm merely offering a friendly reminder. As the saying goes, truth is often unwelcome, but you shouldn't turn a blind eye to it. This matter seems to be filled with heresy, unorthodox practices, and an air of malignancy. Fourth sister-in-law, why not consult with fourth brother and invite a Taoist master to perform a purification ceremony? You, the fourth princess consort seethed. She sneered and declared, it seems you're intentionally causing trouble during the first month of the lunar year. I find these flowers quite splendid. I'll keep and admire them. There's no heresy, unorthodoxy, or malignancy. Our prince is the scion of a dragon. Such things are unfounded. Sister-in-law, you're overthinking. Princess Consort snorted. I'm just offering advice. If you don't value it, then so be it. The fourth princess consort grinned meaningfully. Enough with the flowers. Why don't we return and continue enjoying the performance? After the uproar, who would still be in the mood for the show? However, the banquet couldn't simply end there, so they all forced smiles and agreed. Princess Consort nodded with a forced smile. In that case, please proceed. Sister-in-law, please go ahead. The fourth princess consort smiled and turned to instruct the chief palace maid beside her. Saiju, have some people cut a few of these crabapple flowers and send them to the opera house. Yes, Princess Consort. The fourth princess consort shot a provocative look at Princess Consort, clearly gearing up for a confrontation. Princess Consort displayed a hint of anger while suppressing her frustration. Observing the second lady of the Tian family, Qiao Xian activated her power. A sturdy tree root suddenly emerged from the ground, discreetly nudging the second young Madame Tian under her shoes. Unnoticed by the crowd, the subtle intervention with the tree root went unseen, concealed beneath the long skirts of the attendees. To onlookers, it appeared that the second young Madame Tian was walking gracefully, likely tripping over the hem of her dress, causing her to scream and lurch forward. The maidservant accompanying her failed to restrain her, and the sudden pounce caught the two young madams off guard. The pair, holding hands and laughing as they strolled, inadvertently collided with Princess Consort. Reacting instinctively, someone took a step back, but the momentum of the collision caused the two young madams to tumble onto Princess Consort. In the ensuing chaos, Annie Fu and she, attempting to assist Princess Consort, ended up bumping into each other, failing to prevent the fall. The unfortunate outcome saw Princess Consort on the ground, a sharp pain in her palm, and a broken jade pendant that had adorned her waist. The commotion drew immediate concern from those nearby. Princess Consort, are you all right? Princess Consort, wincing from the pain in her palm, Princess Consort concealed the bleeding wound, determined not to reveal her vulnerability. She accepted the help offered to her, all the while hiding the stained and broken aspects of her previously immaculate appearance. Despite the external assistance, the scene portrayed a stark contrast to her previous elegance, now marred by a mess of torn fabric and damaged attire. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1631. Fighting face-to-face, Princess Consort found herself in an unprecedented state of embarrassment, her face flushed with anger and her overall appearance significantly marred. Witnessing the aftermath of their accidental collision, the two young madams immediately knelt down, fear etched across their pale faces. Princess Consort, please forgive me. I didn't do it on purpose. Princess Consort, please forgive me. Facing their pleas, Princess Consort cast a cold, stern gaze upon them, her eyes then shifting to second young Madame Tian, who appeared utterly frightened. Kneeling in submission, second young Madame Tian pleaded, I didn't do it on purpose. Princess Consort, please forgive me. Deep down, second young Madame Tian felt both vexed and distressed. She couldn't comprehend what had transpired. Why had the flat ground seemingly transformed into uneven terrain, causing her to trip and fall in such a pitiful state? Upon regaining her senses, she scrutinized the ground, finding no irregularities. Perplexed, she suspected an illusion. Attempting to shift blame onto Qiao Xian, she realized that Qiao Xian stood too far away to be responsible. Forced to confess, second young Madame Tian found herself at a loss. Qiao Xian, observing the trio in their humbled state, recognized them as those who had mocked her. The notion of retribution lingered in her thoughts. However, she couldn't openly revel in it, resigned to savoring her satisfaction in solitude. The fourth princess consort relished the situation, thinking to herself, "You couldn't stand our nonsensical talk, could you? Karma has arrived, hasn't it?" She found satisfaction in witnessing the person who valued her dignity the most making a public spectacle of herself. Approaching the distressed trio, the fourth princess consort expressed concern. "I don't believe they did it intentionally. It's the first month of the lunar year, and they've admitted their mistake. Sister-in-law, let's forgive them. How about I accompany you to change?" Given the unintentional nature of the incident, Princess Consort had no grounds for punishment. Suppressing her grievances, she generously raised her hand, saying, "All right, get up. I understand that it wasn't deliberate." "Thank you, Princess Consort." The three of them sighed in relief and helped the maidservant to her feet. As the fourth Princess Consort led Princess Consort to change, she instructed the other Princess Consorts to invite the guests into the theater, as the show couldn't proceed until Princess Consort arrived. Taking advantage of the moment, Qiao Xian approached second young Madame Tian and addressed her with a sly smile, ensuring her voice carried enough for those nearby to hear. "Princess Consort, your grace and magnanimity truly exemplify royal decorum. No need to argue with second young Madame. Thankfully, my Li Xia didn't accidentally push her down, or she might have faced severe scolding." Second young Madame Tian held her breath and shot a glare at Qiao Xian, recognizing her own wrongdoing but avoiding further confrontation. Qiao Xian smiled and walked past her with Li Xia, determined to find an opportunity for a comeback. She was prepared to endure mockery if it meant resisting the pressure to please Princess Consort and fourth Princess Consort. With plans to leave the capital soon, she cared little for potential consequences. She would not return anytime soon, and even if she did, she wouldn't rely on connections. There was little to worry about. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1632. The fourth prince's residence is famous. Second, young Madame Tian's acquaintances exchanged glances and sighed inwardly. Madame Zhao seemed too stubborn for her own good. Was she oblivious or clever? Even with Lord Zhao in dire straits, she failed to grasp the importance of maintaining a low profile, building favorable connections, and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. Instead, she seemed determined to offend others to the point of no return. Let her be. She who is down need not fear a fall, so she might as well embrace a vicious cycle. It was wiser not to provoke her again. Mocking her further would only lead to embarrassment. Word quickly spread about Qiao Xian mocking second young Madame Tian, but the ladies viewed it with indifference. Fortunately, the situation finally calmed down. No one dared to accuse her of ingratiating herself with fourth Princess Consort and Princess Consort. Princess Consort, disgruntled, left the gathering promptly after changing her clothes. Aware of her mood, the fourth Princess Consort saw her off. With Princess Consort's departure, the audience couldn't continue enjoying the show, prompting a gradual dispersal of guests, including Qiao Xian. In the end, only a few close associates of the fourth Princess Consort concocted excuses to stay for a small gathering. The fourth Princess Consort felt thoroughly aggrieved. Princess Consort's outburst had marred the banquet, and the lingering guests couldn't help but glance at the begonia tree in full bloom. The fourth Princess Consort's heart raced with anxiety. To dispel the joy, she ordered red silk to be fetched and draped over the tree. After all, The blooming flower was deemed too peculiar, heretical, and untimely. The blossoming of the crabapple tree posed an awkward situation for the fourth princess consort. The incident occurred during the banquet, and its conspicuousness made it impossible to conceal. Now, she had the daunting task of devising an explanation for the public. Qiao seemed to revel in creating headaches for her, preventing her from finding further trouble. The thought of presenting her with a unique gift, ensuring her name echoed throughout the capital, filled Princess Consort with satisfaction, despite harboring anger within. Returning home, she shed her cumbersome attire and erupted in frustration. It was evident that the fourth princess consort orchestrated this intentionally, making things challenging for her. The arrogance and meddling of the Tian family irked her, and Xiao Xian's distant attitude upon seeing Xiao Yunduan puzzled her. What did she imply? None of them are trustworthy. News of the sudden blossoming of a crabapple tree in the fourth prince's residence spread rapidly, accompanied by vivid descriptions. Many reacted with disbelief, deeming the situation absurd. Despite initial skepticism, the solemn vows and first-hand account from family members compelled people to reluctantly accept this improbable truth. Various interpretations emerged, with some seeing it as an auspicious sign and others deeming it ominous. The fourth prince's faction remained silent. The fourth prince was irate, viewing the incident as unfavorable. An auspicious sign in his residence? He is just a prince. The omen should be occurring in the palace or the crown prince's residence, not in his. What would his father and the crown prince think of him? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1633. She doesn't understand how. Was he going to explain this? Could it be that he had to claim it was an evil creature? That would be inauspicious. The fourth prince could not help but scold the fourth princess consort. The fourth princess consort felt wronged. How was she supposed to know that this would happen? If she had known, she would not have attended the banquet that day. Sure enough, the emperor had heard the news too. He even sent a young eunuch to the fourth prince's mansion to investigate. The fourth prince was scared out of his wits. He insisted that he didn't know what was going on either. It must be that this crabapple tree was good-looking, energetic, and overnourished. It bloomed just like that. This wasn't a sudden bloom. There were flower buds on the tree to begin with, but they weren't conspicuous. No one paid attention, so they naturally neglected it. Then, because of the warm weather, they all bloomed at once. There were all kinds of strange things in the world. The fourth prince even suggested that it was indeed rare to see a crabapple tree bloom so well at this time. Why not have someone carefully dig it out and send it to the palace so that father could admire it? The young eunuch did not dare to make this decision and went back to report in detail. The emperor didn't want the tree. He said that it wasn't easy for the crabapple tree to grow so big. He would keep it for himself, seeing that his father had no intention of blaming him for this. The fourth prince heaved a sigh of relief. While the fourth prince heaved a sigh of relief, the crown prince felt very uncomfortable. An auspicious sign? What kind of auspicious sign did his fourth brother want? Was he not even going to hide it? Although many people said that this matter was too strange and most likely not a good thing, the crown prince was more inclined to believe it. However, there were still individuals who insisted that this was an auspicious sign. This matter lodged like a thorn in his heart, causing him profound unease and discomfort. Prompted by a reminder, the crown prince suddenly recollected that Xiao Xian was the one who had rescued the peony flowers in the court. Perhaps she possessed more knowledge about such matters than anyone else. Consequently, he urged Princess Consort to dispatch someone to consult Xiao Xian. Princess Consort, though displeased, did not dare to rebuff the crown prince's request, so she sent Auntie Liang on the errand. Auntie Fu expressed her desire to go, but Princess Consort declined. She couldn't fathom why Auntie Fu persistently tried to convince her that she had misunderstood Ms. Qiao. She refused to heed her advice and harbored no inclination to entertain any positive remarks about Ms. Qiao. Auntie Liang adopted a much more agreeable attitude this time. Bearing the crown prince's mission in mind, she recognized Qiao Xian's reputed temperament and refrained from putting on airs. After all, even if Qiao Xian became the target of the crown prince and princess consort's disdain, it wouldn't bode well for Auntie Liang. Qiao Xian hadn't anticipated a visit from the East Palace for such a matter. Wasn't this an exaggeration? Although Qiao Xian expressed her surprise, she couldn't explain why, so she offered her apologies. Auntie Liang displayed no surprise. Qiao Xian knew about peony flowers, but expecting her to be an expert on all flowers would be unreasonable. Smiling, Auntie Liang advised, "In that case, I'll convey this message to you. Moreover, it's best to keep this knowledge to yourself. Disclosing it may lead to unwarranted speculation and complications." "What are your thoughts, Madame Zhao?" She wanted her to remain discreet. Qiao Xian nodded. "Certainly." Auntie Liang departed satisfied. When the fourth princess consort extended an invitation to Qiao Xian for the banquet, and when princess consort organized the event, she didn't want to exclude Qiao Xian, so she invited her as well. Qiao Xian found herself spending another day in the crown prince's mansion. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1634. Cloud Water Town. It wasn't until the 11th that Qiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan finally took a break and headed straight to Cloud Water Town with Li Xia and their companions. On the farmland in Cloud Water Town, land lay bare and untended. The earliest they could start cleaning and preparing the land would be February. Actual farming would commence when the weather warmed up, with the subsequent 2 rounds of spring rain nurturing the soil. Despite the barren fields, the manor was brimming with activity. Qiao Xian had become a favorite among the children, who adored her warmth and the abundance of sweets, snacks, and fruits she shared. Qiao Xian enjoyed preparing various foods. With a sizable crowd around, cooking might be inconvenient, but barbecue, dumplings, buns, and steamed rice cakes proved to be practical choices. Laughter echoed through the entire courtyard every day. Occasionally, when the weather permitted, Qiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan would venture out to climb mountains. Under the vast sky and expansive landscape, clarity and openness prevailed. I.e., Sun Bai and Sun Qian excelled at hunting, and Qiao Xian's interest in hunting rekindled. She joined them in the forest for a hunting expedition. Winter prey tended to be adept at hiding and less active, making it a challenging time for hunting with limited harvest expectations. Yet, Zhao Yunduan had no expectations as long as his wife was happy. Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and the others were eager for the outdoor activity. Additionally, Liu Fu, Wu Guan, and several others formed a sizable team. With Qiao Xian leading the way, even winter hunting promised a fruitful outcome. After successfully hunting more than 10 pheasants and rabbits, Sun Bai and the others were elated. They discovered a surprisingly abundant array of prey in the forest near Cloudwater Town. It turned out to be an excellent hunting ground. Their luck today was exceptionally good. They successfully hunted 2 wild goats, one weighing approximately 60 to 70 catties and the other around 50 catties. Gleefully, they carried their prized catches back. Upon returning to the farm, a crowd gathered to witness the commotion. Qiao Xian reserved a leg of lamb, some lamb chops, mutton, and haggis for themselves, while the rest was handed over to the women in the large kitchen for cooking the next day. Joy radiated through the farm. Zheng Sang and the others joined Qiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan for dinner. Fresh lamb bones were stewed along with the mutton, and a hearty bowl was served with cabbage, vermicelli, scallions, and coriander. The enticing aroma wafted throughout the yard. The table was adorned with steamed mutton, stewed pheasant with wild mushrooms, spicy rabbit meat, stir-fried pea seedlings, stir-fried eggs with winter melon slices, pickled radish shreds, and pine eggs, a festive spread befitting the spring festival. Qiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan departed on the 18th day of the first month. In the preceding days, news had spread across the farm that their old master and madam were leaving the capital. The tenants continued with their farming duties following the established routines, and their own farmers performed their assigned tasks. Adhering to Song's recommendation, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan appointed Zhang Jie as the leader of this area. Zhao Shu would send periodic checks on Zhang Jie, and Xiao Xian provided a means for him to communicate with Zhao Shu. Zhang Sang and the others continued to reside on the farm, receiving wages according to the terms of their contract. During their time on the farm, Zhang Sang and the others enjoyed a tranquil and secure life. They harbored no worries about securing hard work or food for the next day. Grateful and trusting, they held Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan in high regard. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1635. Planning to accompany. Upon learning that Xiao Yunduan was slated for a transfer, reluctance hung in the air among the community. Curious children persistently inquired about Xiao Xian's return to the capital, unable to bear parting with Xiao Yunduan. To them, the notion of An's province held no significance, and they assumed Lord Xiao's relocation was merely a result of a promotion to another place. In contrast, Zhang Sang, Lu Changming, Wu Guan, and the others were familiar with Zhao. However, they chose not to disclose the details to the broader group, deeming it unwise to stir emotions. Even if others were aware, it wouldn't alter the situation. Ignorance, in this case, seemed preferable. Yet, they couldn't remain idle. After deliberation, Zhang Sang proposed that Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao required assistance while out of town. Consequently, he decided to bring some capable individuals, along with good seedlings, to An's province with Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Despite Xiao Yunduan's gratitude, Zhang Sang and the others insisted on accompanying him. Recognizing their capabilities and self-defense skills, Xiao Yunduan accepted their offer with thanks. Zhang Sang chuckled heartily. "Lord, you're too polite. This is what we should do." Since their arrival at the farm, Zhang Sang had consistently addressed Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan as Madam and Lord. The couple had provided shelter and stability to over 70 individuals, offering them a prolonged period of contentment. In their time of need, turning a blind eye and reveling in peace would be inhumane. Moreover, after years of confinement, the group was eager to explore the world beyond. Following thorough discussions, Zhang Sang and the others decided that Zhang Sang, Wu Guan, and Yang Mu, a returning army veteran, will be accompanied by 10-year-old Lu Qian, Emoli, Lu Fu, Madame Song, Shower, Qing Lian, Ms. Miao, and Xiao Qiao, a total of 11 people. If Xiao Air expressed a desire to go, Ms. Song wouldn't hinder her son. Naturally, she would follow suit. Ms. Miao took the initiative to join, being close to Ms. Song. With a companion in tow, it would be convenient for household tasks and organizing for the journey. Xiao Qiao, unable to bear parting with Qing Lian, was overjoyed. Thus, the decision was finalized. Lu Changming, Song Guangyao, and others stayed at the manor to attend to the remaining people and manage the estate. With the decision made, preparations were underway. Given the considerable distance, procuring a carriage became imperative. A pre-made one wouldn't suffice. Modifications were needed to enhance sturdiness and comfort. 11 people would require at least 3 carriages, 2 for seating and 1 for luggage. Xiao Xian initially thought 4 carriages would be more comfortable, but Zhang Sang and the others argued that 2 would suffice. With the need for alternating drivers, having too many carriages would prove inconvenient. The packing was minimal, just a few clothes and essentials. After a discussion with Xiao Yunduan, Zhang Sang decided to take a few men with him to An's city to gather information, ensuring Xiao Yunduan and the others wouldn't be entirely clueless. This plan was agreed upon. As a result, Zhang Sang departed with Yang Mu and Lu Qian, while the others followed Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. On the 3rd day of February, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian discreetly left the capital. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1636. Leaving the capital early in the morning, a discreet carriage gradually departed from the capital, blending into the vast and bustling crowd. Once outside the city, Xiao Xian couldn't resist lifting a corner of the curtain to peer outside. Turning to Xiao Yunduan with a smile, she remarked, "This will be a positive change for us. Let us soar in the heavens and swim in the vast sea." Regardless of the crown prince's fortune, they had no desire to revel in his glory. If the crown prince faced misfortune, they aimed to avoid entanglement. Xiao Yunduan chuckled, embracing Xiao Xian. "Your sentiments echo exactly what your husband is thinking. You and I share an unspoken understanding." The two exchanged smiles. Wu Guan awaited them 20 miles away. Upon their rendezvous, the group set off together. 7 carriages moved in unison, presenting a majestic sight. However, for travelers embarking on a long journey, their luggage was surprisingly minimal. The crown prince contemplated whether he should meet Xiao Yunduan before his departure. Despite everything, Xiao Yunduan was still aligned with him. Xiao Yunduan's stubbornness kept him from betraying the crown prince. In the crown prince's heart, he still held admiration for Xiao Yunduan and wished for him to reconsider. Yet, summoning him for a meeting might imply a concession, making the crown prince feel somewhat embarrassed, typical of his indecisive nature. However, Xiao Yunduan had already set out before the crown prince could make a decision. After Xiao Yunduan's departure, the crown prince felt a twinge of annoyance. Princess Consort sensed his thoughts and attempted to persuade him. "You've done everything you could for Lord Xiao. Without your recognition and support, he wouldn't have achieved such prominence with his background and lack of connections. He wouldn't have offended the Tian family upon arriving in the capital because of Ms. Qiao. These are all your doings. He could have had a better future, but because of Ms. Qiao, he chose this path and let down your kindness and expectations. In my opinion, he's a fool. It's good that he's gone. Crown Prince, you don't have to blame yourself. You didn't do anything wrong." Hearing Princess Consort's words, the crown prince couldn't help but laugh. He burst into laughter and said, "I was feeling uneasy, but after hearing what you said, I feel much better. You are indeed my good wife." Princess Consort smiled shyly. "It is my duty. It is my good fortune to have such a good wife like Princess Consort. As for Officer Xiao, well, let's not dwell on it. Is Mr. Xie still at your home?" Princess Consort was uncertain of Xie Jingrong's whereabouts in her own home, but as he was on good terms with her nephew, she nodded with a smile. "Yes, he has always been around. I will ask someone to inform him to meet you." This year marked Qi Xian's 47th year. In July, there would be another fall quarter examination, and in the following spring, another spring quarter examination after 3 years. A new primus would be crowned. The crown prince harbored the hope that Xie Jingrong would be the new primus. By then, Xiao Yunduan would fade into obscurity. People would remember the crown prince's failure in retaining his trusted officer. The crown prince shared this sentiment. He nodded and smiled. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1637. Eldest young master Xie left unexpectedly. 3 days passed, and Princess Consort had not received a reply. Growing increasingly anxious, Princess Consort personally sent Auntie Fu to inquire. Feeling the urgency of the matter, she couldn't afford any further delay. What would the crown prince think of her if she couldn't handle such a simple task? To her dismay, Auntie Fu returned with troubling news for Princess Consort. Mr. Xie had left the capital, intending to visit friends in Gubei, and wouldn't be back for a month or two. It was also possible that he might not return to the capital anytime soon, depending on his mood. Princess Consort was dumbfounded. In fact, her maternal family, the Fu family, was equally stunned. They dared not take the initiative to inform her that young Master Xie had left a message and departed. The news had left them searching for words. Xie Jingrong had stayed in the capital to cover up for Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, discussing the situation in An's province with Xiao Yunduan. He had maintained a facade of politeness. However, when Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian departed, he didn't even show up to bid them farewell. Unhappy and unable to tolerate the situation any longer, he decided to leave the capital. The more the crown prince expressed goodwill, the more repulsed Xie Jingrong felt. He knew the sacrifices Xiao Yunduan had made for the crown prince, both openly and covertly, yet the crown prince forced him to endure such absurd treatment. Xie Jingrong failed to see how the crown prince could be deemed kind. If Xiao Yunduan could be treated like this today, who's to say the same wouldn't happen to him in the future? As fury consumed Princess Consort, she instructed Auntie Fu to go again and summoned her second brother to her side. She desired to ask him personally. In reality, there wasn't much harm in personally seeking answers from Xie Jingrong, especially considering he had already left. The eldest young master Xie didn't have any obligations to the Fu family, nor had he explicitly promised them anything. He hadn't even made a special visit to the crown prince. So what power did the Fu family really hold? With no other option, Princess Consort instructed her second brother to dispatch more men to Gubei and retrieve Xie Jingrong as swiftly as possible. Regardless, he had to meet the crown prince first. Princess Consort regretted her delayed action. Initially, she felt reassured, thinking Xie Jingrong intended to join the crown prince, so there was no rush. She anticipated him visiting her. Little did she know, had she known earlier, she would have invited him over much sooner. As Princess Consort procrastinated, the crown prince's impatience grew. After 6 or 7 days, he was on the verge of becoming truly angry. What were the Fu family's intentions? Yet, receiving no updates from the individuals sent to Gubei, Princess Consort had no choice but to reveal the truth to the crown prince. His fury erupted upon hearing the news. What was wrong with the Fu family? They couldn't even retain a person. Weren't they claiming that Xie Jingrong got along well with the young masters of the Xie family? Did someone offend them? Why would Xie Jingrong leave so abruptly? Despite his frustration, the crown prince clung to hope. If the Fu family had offended someone, as long as Xie Jingrong was truly committed to pursuing an official position, he would surely return. Patience was all that was needed. Crown Prince scolded Princess Consort, instructing her not to offend Xie Jingrong when he returned. Additionally, he emphasized the importance of reporting any issues promptly rather than concealing them. Princess Consort inwardly sighed in relief, promptly agreeing to the Crown Prince's instructions. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1638. On the road Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and the others departed from the capital without hesitation. 3 days later, they had already distanced themselves significantly, covering over 700 miles of travel. Fatigue set in, prompting them to slow down. They adopted a more leisurely pace, not setting off early each day and checking into a hotel around 4 in the afternoon. An's province lay in the southeast of the Great Qin Empire. To travel south from the capital, one had to take a dry road covering approximately 2,600 kilometers. Under normal circumstances, the journey would require around 20 days. Heading south proved more challenging, especially as they entered territories marked by crisscrossing mountains and ridges. Traveling 100 miles a day was the carriage's limit, and sometimes it was even less. Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and their companions anticipated spending at least a month on this leg of their journey. Fortunately, they had ample time before assuming office. They only needed to arrive within 2 months, allowing them to progress slowly. The extended trip proved enjoyable. Passing through vibrant towns with distinct local characteristics, they would settle down early. This allowed them time to explore local markets, savor regional delicacies, and purchase items for the road. However, transporting local specialties proved challenging due to the journey's length. In the blink of an eye, they transitioned from the expansive northern plains to mountainous terrain. Endless mountains unfolded before them, verdant and lush. Springs and waterfalls occasionally punctuated the scenery. Cliffs towered high, creating natural barriers. As they traversed remote mountain paths, encounters with wild sheep, boars, and various other beasts became commonplace. The flapping wings of frightened pheasants and birds added to the natural spectacle. On one occasion, they even spotted a large white-fronted tiger crouched on a distant cliff, stirring excitement among the group. Considering their combined strength, confronting a large tiger posed no problem for them. Had it not been for the distance and time constraints, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Yi, and others would have eagerly tested their mettle against the formidable feline. As they journeyed further south, the temperature gradually rose. The landscape transformed with the flourishing of grass, the flight of orioles, and the blooming of various wildflowers. The mountains and wilderness turned into a captivating scene, adorned with colorful blossoms that complemented the young leaves and fresh grass. The air carried a melange of fragrances, flowers, grass, leaves, soil, and the warmth of the spring sun, refreshing the senses, inducing joy, and expanding their horizons. Their group, venturing into An's province, was likely unprecedented. Zhao Yunduan had severed ties with the crown prince, making him appear unlikely to rise again in the eyes of others. For the next few years, he was perceived as a non-threatening figure. In these circumstances, Zhao Yunduan enjoyed a sense of security. No intelligent prince would attempt to scheme against him at this juncture. Being the emperor's primus, Zhao Yunduan remained a figure of significance, and the emperor might remember him at any moment. Therefore, it made more sense for potential rivals to focus on gaining favor within the imperial court rather than plotting against him. With this understanding, Zhao Yunduan and his men approached the journey with a relaxed mindset. Nevertheless, Sun Bai and Sun Qian remained vigilant. Daily, they assigned professional scouts to monitor any signs of abnormal activity. They strategically rested during the day, arranging their schedules with caution. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Her mother and sister-in-law would be overjoyed at the news, and the extended family could assist in taking care of her. Most importantly, it would be much safer at home. Yet, Qiao Xin firmly refused. She pressed herself into his arms, declaring that she would only go where he went. Looking up at him with a gentle smile, she teased, "If I don't guard you, countless fairies will pounce on you. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1640. Pregnant caught between laughter and tears, Zhao Yunduan insisted, "I promise, absolutely not." But Qiao Xian refused to listen, covering her ears defiantly. "I'm not listening." Zhao Yunduan attempted to speak, but Qiao Xian persisted, playfully blocking out his words. After a brief standoff, Zhao Yunduan decided to revisit the topic. "Why didn't you tell me that you're pregnant? If I hadn't sensed something was amiss, how long were you planning to keep it from me?" Feeling a pang of guilt, Qiao Xian rolled her eyes and snuggled against his chest. "I found out myself not long ago, because I was on the road. On the road." Zhao Yunduan found the explanation odd, but initially didn't dwell on it. However, upon reflection, he berated himself for being foolish. Although her appearance hadn't changed, her actions and eating habits had become more cautious. He recalled her constant claims of tiredness and reluctance to be touched since leaving the capital. At the time, he attributed it to concerns about An's province. Now, he realized it was more than that. He chided himself for not paying closer attention and waiting until today to notice. Unconvinced by Qiao Xian's explanation, Zhao Yunduan couldn't bring himself to believe it. Feeling a hint of panic, Qiao Xian changed her story. "I found out a few days ago, but I was afraid you would keep me here, so I kept it a secret. I've been trying to find the right time to tell you, but I haven't found the opportunity. Anyway, you know now. Look, I'm fine." Zhao Yunduan struggled to control his anger. "You're right. Luckily, nothing happened. Otherwise, he couldn't even bear to think about the potential consequences." The mere thought made his heart tremble, and cold sweat broke out on his back. This was their first child. Qiao Xian, sensing his distress, subconsciously tightened her arms around herself. She gently caressed his long fingers and spoke softly. "This is our first child, and I know what I'm doing. I will protect him well. Look, he's fine, right? Please don't blame me." Xiao Yunduan sighed helplessly. "I'm not blaming you. Do you really not want to go home?" "No." Unable to force her, Xiao Yunduan conceded. "Okay." The plan had to change. The safety of Qiao Xian and the child became the top priority. Qiao Xian, relieved that Xiao Yunduan didn't force her to leave, began to comfort him. "Husband, consider this. I'm pregnant, and you need to take care of me. People will be negligent, not keeping a close eye on us, and not taking us seriously. We can set up the trap slowly, catching them off guard. Isn't that good?" She gently stroked her yet-to-swell abdomen, a smile playing on her lips. This child came at the right time. What a good child. As soon as she came, she numbed the enemy for her parents. Caught between laughter and tears, Xiao Yunduan threw her a look. "My wife is right. What a good child." Qiao Xian smiled proudly, and Xiao Yunduan, filled with tenderness and happiness, moved closer to her. Rubbing his face against hers, he smiled brightly. "Wife, we're going to have a baby. We are already on the way to having a child." Yes, I was wrong. We are already on the way to having our child." He laughed happily. "We are finally on the way to having a child. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1641. Be careful. Qiao Xian's heart melted as well. She looked up at him with a smile and couldn't help but kiss him. "Husband, have you been waiting for this child for a long time?" Qiao Xian leaned against Xiao Yunduan and asked slowly. "Of course not." Xiao Yunduan burst into laughter and took her in his arms. "We will have a child sooner or later." Qiao Xian almost asked what if she was not able to give birth, but then she realized that what she said was inauspicious. The baby in her stomach was so aggrieved, so she changed her words and said with a smile, "Yes, I think so too." After some thought, she added, "I want to have a girl and a boy." Xiao Yunduan smiled, looking even more gentle. "I want it too. Let's work hard." Qiao Xian burst into laughter and blushed. Still concerned, Xiao Yunduan asked someone to get a doctor to check on her. The news of Qiao Xian's pregnancy was also announced. Everyone was happy for them and congratulated them endlessly. Xiao Yunduan looked very happy and full of smiles. He asked Li Xia and Li Qiao to cook the eggs and distribute them to everyone. He also gave out numerous red packets, making everyone very happy. After the doctor carefully examined her, he also congratulated her with a smile, indicating that the child in Madame Xiao's stomach was very healthy. Both mother and child were in excellent condition. Xiao Yunduan, still in disbelief, asked for more details and then requested Songshe to bring another doctor. He only felt at ease when the two doctors confirmed the same result. Caught between laughter and tears, Qiao Xian said to him with a smile after the second doctor left, "Are you relieved now?" Xiao Yunduan looked at her with a smile. How could he be assured? They still had to travel. Although the doctor said that as long as she walked slowly, took care of herself on the way, paid attention to rest, and checked regularly, she should be fine. In this situation, she didn't even need to take pregnancy stabilizing medicine. However, this was his wife and son after all. No matter how well the doctor spoke, he couldn't remain calm when he thought of the journey. As for what his unreliable wife said about just like before, that was even more impossible. Other officials' wives were pregnant. Who didn't serve them well? It was like his wife. She was actually still traveling. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. It was really too unfair to her. Thinking of this, Xiao Yunduan took care of her carefully. From this day onwards, the group's speed clearly slowed down. They had initially covered a day's journey, but now it took 2 days. For those with better road conditions, the originally 2-day journey now took 3 days. No one had any objections. They felt that this was how it should be. Pregnant women were delicate to begin with. If anything happened, wouldn't she regret it? Qiao Xian thought that even if she went according to the speed, she would only be 7 or 8 days slower than before, so she could enjoy the special treatment. There were also advantages to walking slowly. The scenery was along the way. This was the best season of the year. Every day, there would be different beautiful scenery to admire. In the middle of March, they finally arrived in In's province. When they were still 2 days away from In's province, everyone stopped to rest and planned to enter the city in batches. Xiao Yunwan and Xiao Xian brought Song Shi, Li Xia, Yi, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Ms. Song, Xiao Air, and Liu Fu. Half of the servants were bought, and Wu Guan and the rest were counted as another group. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1642. Entering the city after Wu Guan and the others entered the city, they found an inn to stay in before contacting each other. On March 11th, Xiao Yunduan arrived at An's city in the afternoon with his wife and his men. From afar, they could see the gray city wall that was neither tall nor short. The surroundings were filled with undulating mountains and forests. In late spring, the trees and grass were lush, making it look even deeper. Amidst the surrounding mountains, such a gray city looked even more lonely, desolate, and bleak. It was unknown if it was because of their preconceived notions, but when everyone looked at the city wall, the yellow soil, and the bumpy official road, they subconsciously felt desolate and sinister. Even though the sun was shining brightly, it still made people subconsciously nervous. After all, this was a bandit's nest. Its prefecture city was very large, but the population didn't seem to be high. There were only a few pedestrians and horses on the official road that entered and exited the city gate, making it look very deserted. In such a cold environment, Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and the other 6 carriages were very conspicuous. Anyone who passed by them could not help but size them up curiously. When the convoy finally arrived at the city gate, a few soldiers guarding the city also looked over. Just as their carriage was about to enter the city, a few soldiers moved. "Stop!" They came forward with rusty spears and surrounded the most luxurious wagon that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were in. "Everyone in the carriage, get down." Xiao Yunduan had no intention of concealing his identity and visiting incognito. Catching the culprits red-handed required boldness and a show of authority, which would be compromised if he hid his identity. Li Xia lifted the curtain, and Xiao Yunduan, with an air of authority, opened a fraction of a tail and rushed towards the soldiers. "I'm the new prefect. 2 men, lead the way to the government office." The soldiers widened their eyes, dumbfounded. Sun Bai, who was driving the carriage, flicked his wrist, and his black whip drew a sharp arc in the air. He shouted in a low voice, "How dare you? Why aren't you bowing to the Lord Prefect?" Although these soldiers couldn't read, they were familiar with official seals and the decorum surrounding them. No one would be so audacious as to make such a jest in broad daylight. While they knew the new prefect would assume office soon, no one expected him to enter the city so discreetly. Reprimanded by Sun Bai, the soldiers' hearts trembled, and they hastily knelt down. "Greetings, Lord. Greetings, Lord." It seemed that with just 6 people, the illusion of a bustling scene was successfully created. Xiao Yunduan commanded, "Get up." Casually pointing at the 2 soldiers in front, he continued, "You 2, lead the way. The rest, return to your posts." Yes." The bewildered soldiers led the way while the others stood guard, looking at each other in confusion. Why did this prefect seem so different from the others? And why did he let them off so easily? "Hey, what are we waiting for? Hurry up and report it." "Oh yes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1643. Reception soon. The 4 of them hastily made their escape, dispersing without a clear plan on where to report. Word of the prefect's imminent arrival quickly circulated upon reaching the state office. Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Xian, and the others found Deputy Prefect Guan Feng waiting outside, accompanied by fellow officials. A modest gathering of around 20 people stood nonchalantly, engaging in casual conversations with an air of indifference. Song Shi and Qin Yan assisted Xiao Yunduan out of the carriage and attendants flocked around him. Deputy Prefect Guan was momentarily taken aback, but quickly led the group forward, extending a courteous greeting with a smile. "Are you Lord Qiao, of Qiao Prefect?" Xiao Yunhua nodded. "Yes, I am." "Greetings, Lord." "Greetings, Lord." Deputy Prefect Guan promptly bowed with a smile. "I've eagerly awaited Lord Qiao day and night. You've finally arrived. My lord, you're too discreet. It would have been better to send notice ahead, allowing me to greet you outside the city upon receiving the news. It wasn't intentional. Hee. We were pressed for time. Please forgive us, Lord." Understanding, Xiao Yunduan, looking fatigued, nodded. "I appreciate your understanding. You may go for now. We can discuss matters later." "Deputy Prefect Guan, is it? Lead me to the back office." Yes. My lord, please come in. You must be exhausted from the journey. Head to the back office and rest." Deputy Prefect Guan eagerly nodded, dismissing everyone. He then guided Xiao Yunduan and the others to the rear entrance of the government office. In his 40s or 50s, Deputy Prefect Guan possessed a sturdy, middle-class physique with slightly dark skin. His thick, black eyebrows overshadowed his pupils, creating a distinctive appearance. Despite his friendly demeanor and constant smiles, he seemed good-tempered, showering Xiao Yunduan with flattery and praise as they walked. Qiao Xian was deeply moved by the conversation, finding it remarkably familiar, as if they were long-lost friends finally reunited. As they strolled through the back office, they entered the courtyard, where a few servants from the back office warmly greeted them. Deputy Prefect Guan rushed to summon them for assistance with the horses and luggage, but Songshe intervened. With a friendly smile, Songshe spoke, "Our lord and madam have minimal luggage. We can handle it ourselves. There's no need to trouble everyone." The servants turned their gaze toward Deputy Prefect Guan. Observing Xiao Yunduan's silence, Deputy Prefect Guan burst into laughter and exclaimed, "In that case, thank you all for your efforts." Before the new year, the former prefect had fled with his entourage, leaving Deputy Prefect Guan to welcome Xiao Yunduan and his party this time. While not small, the prefect's back office was divided into the east and west yards, with Xiao Yunduan and his companions settling in the east yard. Besides the two courtyards, there was also a spacious garden spanning about 3 to 4 mu. The garden featured pavilions, flowers, wood structures, flowing water, and a rockery. Due to the humid climate and abundant forests, the vegetation in the garden thrived, boasting flourishing flowers and trees. The east courtyard comprised 3 smaller courtyards, totaling more than 30 houses, along with facilities such as a kitchen, storeroom, and stable. Although the east courtyard had been tidied up, the furniture was incomplete and curtains were lacking. The servant's kitchen was well organized, but the master's kitchen stood empty. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1644. Pride Li Xia and Li Qiao assisted Qiao Xian as they helped him out of the wagon. This was the scene that greeted them upon entering the yard and the main house. Deputy Prefect Guan wore an apologetic expression. "I'm truly sorry, Lord Qiao." The former prefect took all the furniture with him or sold it when he departed. He had personally purchased those items. "Shall I arrange for someone to buy replacements from the shop?" "No need. It's a minor matter. I'll handle it myself." "Ah, that's good. Lord, I'm sure you have excellent taste. Choosing things personally will ensure they suit your preferences. They'll have someone take your guys to the market later." Xiao Yunduan responded non-committally. "Deputy Prefect Guan, I appreciate your efforts today. Once everything is settled, I'll host a banquet to express my gratitude to all of you. In the days ahead, I'll rely on Deputy Prefect Guan for various matters. I hope you won't find me too bothersome." No, Lord, you jest." Deputy Prefect Guan beamed, waving his hands. "I've always been at your service. I'll follow your orders. If there's anything you need me to do, just say the word. I'll gladly share your burdens by providing all the information I possess. I wouldn't dare trouble you with unnecessary expenses. Once we're settled, We'll host a banquet for you, haha. With a smile, Zhao Yunduan exchanged a few more pleasantries before Deputy Prefect Guan took his leave. However, just as Deputy Prefect Guan was about to depart, Qiao suddenly addressed him with a hint of pride. Deputy Prefect Guan, isn't it? When is Mrs. Guan planning to pay her respects? If it's too late, tell her not to come today. She can return tomorrow. I'm tired and would like to rest early. Deputy Prefect Guan was taken aback, quickly putting on a smile and offering profuse apologies. Yes. She is not feeling well today, so she didn't make an appearance. Please forgive me, Madam Zhao. Tomorrow, when she feels better, you'll definitely ask her to come over to pay the respects. Qiao remained unyielding, scoffing. Not feeling well? What a coincidence. She stopped just short of accusing her of feigning illness. Even though Deputy Prefect Guan possessed a smooth tongue and eloquence, Qiao words caught him off guard. In his view, maintaining mutual respect and harmony was essential. Everyone should be in good spirits. Encountering someone who didn't show any courtesy was genuinely. Nevertheless, Deputy Prefect Guan, resembling a benevolent Buddha, recovered swiftly from his momentary surprise, and his face soon lit up with smiles once again. His smile exuded warmth. Haha, Madam Zhao, you do have a knack for humor. My wife has always been delicate. Just a few days ago, she was mentioning you and eagerly anticipating your arrival. Qiao expression softened slightly. She shot him a glance and said nothing more. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Deputy Prefect Guan truly took his leave. Songsher dismissed the 2 men and 2 maidservants who had been serving in the courtyard. Closing the courtyard door, everyone set to work, carrying luggage and dividing tasks. Inside the main room, an arhut bed, an 8-seat table, chairs flanking each side of the table, a long table, and an immovable ancient shell partition were the only furnishings. Taking charge, Zhao Yunduan directed Li Xia, Li Qiao, and the others to prepare the arhut bed. He assisted Qiao Xian in sitting down, saying, "Wife, take a rest. Li Xia, head to the kitchen and boil some hot water. Retrieve the box of snacks and place it on the table so we can satisfy our hunger. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1645. Harmony on surface. Qiao Xian's hunger was unmistakably apparent, and she couldn't bear the pangs any longer. She smiled and asserted, "I'm not that delicate." Zhao Yunduan remarked, "You're not squeamish. You're pregnant." This prompted another laugh from Qiao Xian. Glancing at him, she inquired, "Husband, what's your impression of Deputy Prefect Guan?" Recalling Xie Jinggrong's insights, Zhao Yunduan replied, "As Brother Xie mentioned, Deputy Prefect Guan is quite diplomatic. Though exceedingly amiable, such individuals often prove challenging to befriend. After all, some could effortlessly wear a smile in public, but backstab without a second thought. Some executed the act with a cool detachment, without a hint of hesitation." Before arriving in An's province, both Zhao Yunduan and Qiao Xian had heard that Deputy Prefect Guan belonged to the latter category. Despite the changing prefects in An's, Deputy Prefect Guan had maintained his position for a decade. Surviving contentedly in such an environment required a shrewd and resilient character. Throwing a glance at Qiao Xian, Zhao Yunduan sighed. "Why did you provoke him just now?" Qiao Xian smiled, proudly straightening her back. "In the prefect's wife, a local tyrant. Why can't I be a bit assertive? Being overly kind isn't necessary here. Initiating a confrontation, putting someone in their place, or establishing dominance provides an advantageous position. Let them understand that I'm not someone to be trifled with. It will help them exercise restraint. Didn't we agree on this?" Zhao Yunduan sighed with a helpless smile. While they had discussed such strategies before, he hadn't anticipated Qiao Xian's pregnancy. Now aware of her condition, he preferred avoiding unnecessary risks. His current priority was to lead a stable and conservative life until after she gave birth. However, he hadn't found the time to discuss this with her during the journey. Initially, she had intended to settle in quietly. Little did he expect her to deliberately stir, trouble, and embarrass others the moment they arrived. Facing her question now, Zhao Yunduan refrained from blaming her for her impulsiveness and instead commended her, saying, "My wife has an excellent memory. I haven't thought of it yet." Xiao Xian felt a surge of pride. Zhao Yunduan spoke gently. "Regardless, you are carrying a life inside you now. Always prioritize your well-being and that of our child and mother. We can address everything else later, but your safety is paramount." Xiao Xian's heart warmed, and she gazed down at her belly with a smile. "Don't worry, it'll protect him." Her concern for her child surpassed everything else. Without the protection of her superpower, she might not have acted so impulsively. Although the superpower's energy had halved, Xiao Xian felt reassured, sensing that the other half was safeguarding the baby in her womb. Li Xiao poured hot water and arranged snacks on the table. Zhao Yunduan tasted the tea, offering it to Xiao Xian. Thirsty and hungry, Xiao Xian ceased talking, focusing on drinking water and eating. After a while, Songshi entered and provided a detailed report. The courtyard was now empty, and numerous items needed purchasing. He presented a lengthy list for the two masters to review. Xiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan were indifferent to whether the former prefect had sold off the furniture or if Deputy Prefect Guan intended to make things difficult for them. Money was not a concern for them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1646. Mrs. Guan's Dissatisfaction. They paid little attention to the possessions of others. Despite In's province not being the most prosperous or bustling, it was, after all, a sizable city with several furniture stores. They could easily procure what they needed. Reviewing the extensive list, Xiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan handed it to Songshi. "It's getting late. Arrange for someone to purchase these items individually. Preferably, acquire ready-made pieces. If not, place orders and ensure they're ready in the coming days." Songshi agreed and set off to make the necessary arrangements. Fortunately, the bustling time allowed everyone to split up for shopping. The small kitchen soon had a complete set of pots, pans, cooking utensils, various foods, firewood, and seasonings such as oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar. Daily necessities like furniture, beds, wardrobes, tables, and chairs were also acquired. Customizing curtains, chairs, and other items would take a few days but could be expedited with payment. Zhao Yunduan contemplated going out to explore the area, mingle with the locals, and learn more about its prefecture city. While Xiao Xian and Zhao Yunduan stayed in the room, Li Xia and Li Qiao knew precisely what to buy, leaving Songshi in charge of the rest. They instructed Qing Yan to reserve a few tables of dishes from a nearby restaurant, to be delivered later when dinner time approached. With the day drawing to a close, preparing a home-cooked meal would be impractical. As Deputy Prefect Guan left the east courtyard, he maintained a smiling facade. However, upon entering the west courtyard where his family resided, the smile faded. Inside the house, Mrs. Guan, munching on melon seeds, eagerly clapped her hands, demanding, "How is it? How is the Zhao family?" Deputy Prefect Guan chuckled, envisioning Zhao Yunduan's fatigued expression and the scrutinizing, disappointed glances. "Not much to report. I doubt they'll last long here either. None of those officials seem like they can endure this place for an extended period." "That's right," Mrs. Guan sneered. "I heard he's a young primus, a scholar whose head is filled with lofty ideals. He's pedantic and daydreams about romance all the time. How can someone like him endure the hardships? People of his kind won't last long in our place." Growing more agitated, she continued, "In my opinion, you've endured this forsaken place for so many years. Even if you haven't received proper recognition, you've worked hard. Moreover, you've made contributions. Without you, would this place have remained stable for so long? The position of the prefect should have been rightfully yours a long time ago. I don't understand what the imperial court is thinking. These prefects come and go like a revolving door, treating this place like a market. Yet, the imperial court keeps sending people one after another. I want to see when the imperial court will wake up. Only then will I know that you are the most suitable to be the prefect. Hearing this, Deputy Prefect Guan felt a twinge of indignation. Another superior had arrived, and this immediate comparison fueled his frustration. Waving his hand dismissively, he said, "Enough. There's no need for such talk. The imperial court has its own considerations. As for me, it'll just focus on doing my job." Mrs. Guan sneered again. These prefects who come and go like a revolving door are mere decorations. The clay bodhisattva in the temple that can breathe is all thanks to you. Deputy Prefect Guan frowned, feeling even more exasperated. Enough, don't say such things. I'm just a deputy prefect. Prefects' matters are inherently my concerns. Discuss these matters within the house. Don't spread rumors outside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1647. Contempt. It was inconceivable for her to spread baseless rumors. Instead, she chose to lament everywhere about how her old master was overworked and exhausted. She painted a picture of his daily struggles, emphasizing how he was so busy that his feet barely touched the ground upon waking. Often, he didn't even have time to eat, and she couldn't leave him alone. She had to make decisions and follow his instructions. She expressed genuine concern that if this continued, his health might suffer. Mrs. Guan smiled, saying, "Old master, don't worry. It's not that I don't understand the seriousness of the situation. I'm just indignant on your behalf. I only gossip at home. If the family forbids me from speaking, I'll feel suffocated." Deputy Prefect Guan shared her sentiments. "By the way, you should meet Madame Qiao tomorrow or the day after." Deputy Prefect Guan smirked as he recounted Qiao Xian's words. Mrs. Guan erupted in anger. "What did you say? That woman. She wants me to pay my respects to her? Huh, who does she think she is? She wants to impose herself on me. I'm utterly disgusted. Just wait. I'll teach her a lesson. I'll show her who holds the reins in An's province." Deputy Prefect Guan chuckled. "Wife, calm down. Although it's distasteful, isn't it easier to handle someone who doesn't hold back? On the surface, you can just appease her with a few pleasant words. After all, once she's appeased, won't she still be under your influence?" Mrs. Guan's heartbeat quickened. Reflecting on it, that did seem to be the case. Madame Qiao must be foolish to speak so brazenly in front of her old master. Such a person was indeed more manageable. However, Mrs. Guan's discomfort returned when she considered Madame Qiao's arrogance, impoliteness, and sense of superiority. I must teach her a lesson. Otherwise, it'll truly be repulsed. This time, Deputy Prefect Guan remained silent, only cautioning, "Don't go too far. It won't be good if we end up in a feud." Mrs. Guan sneered, replying, "Don't worry, old master." In the east courtyard, there was an ample supply of funds and labor. Before long, the purchased items were transported back one by one. Ms. Miao, Ms. Song, Xia Sanzou's wife, Caillou's mother, and several other women efficiently organized the space, directing the unloading of items. The required rooms were swiftly filled with the purchased goods. Perhaps due to the abundance of mountains, forests, and high-quality wood in the area, the furniture surprised everyone with its excellent materials and craftsmanship. Li Xia and Li Qiao selected a set of quality furniture, and the owner gladly arranged for it to be delivered. There was an assortment of furnishings: 8 immortals table, chairs, chaise longue, long table, desk, bookshelf, walking bed, wardrobe, dressing table, round table. Everything one could imagine. Having been with Qiao Xian for many years, Li Xia and Li Qiao knew her preferences well. As expected, Qiao Xian was highly pleased with the chosen furniture. With the furniture in place, curtains and drapes were partially sourced from the embroidery workshop and custom-made for the rest, ready in 3 days. Songshur also purchased several pots of flowers from the market, ranging in sizes and varieties, to adorn the house and courtyard. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan Having brought a few pieces of furniture from the capital, placed them strategically to enhance the room's appearance and reduce the sense of emptiness. Beds and cabinets for the servants' quarters were easier to acquire, made from ordinary yet sturdy and durable fir wood. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1648. Provoke. With all the tasks completed, dusk settled outside, and the lights began to illuminate the surroundings. The restaurant-delivered food arrived, and appreciating everyone's hard work, Qiao asked Liu to convey the message for them to rest after dinner. Even though they had settled down, there were still numerous tasks awaiting them in the future. Sun Bai and Sun Qian, vigilant as always, arranged for guards to keep watch through the night. A serene night unfolded. Nestled in Zhao Yunduan's arms, Qiao felt a sense of contentment. This was their home. The following morning, Qiao freshened up and headed to the garden with Qiao, and Yan. Meanwhile, Zhao Yunduan went to the front office to meet all the officers in the prefect's office. The garden, nurtured by Mrs. Guan, was thriving. Roses, gardenias, cuckoos, peonies, and crabapples were all in full bloom. The trees stood lush and green. In high spirits, Qiao and her servants enjoyed a leisurely walk, a rare treat after the challenges they had faced on their journey. Qiao's mischievous side surfaced. She suddenly felt the urge to provoke Mrs. Guan once again. Instructing Liu and the others to find a bamboo basket, Qiao called Qing Lian Qiao, and Kaiwa to pick the blooming flowers, roses, gardenias, and peonies. She intended to make lip gloss. Trimming branches from the well-blooming peonies and begonias with scissors, she planned to bring them back and arrange them in bottles. The cuckoos and hydrangeas caught her eye. She decided to carefully transplant them later into the east courtyard. Qiao observed the maids picking and arranging flowers, engrossed in their work and laughter, when Mrs. Guan arrived with her attendants. An elderly woman shouted from a distance, "Where did these little girls come from? Hurry up and stop." Qiao sneered and calmly said, "Just ignore her." The maids chuckled and responded, "Who is this old woman? She's shouting. That's right, who does she think she's scaring? Hey, don't say that." She suddenly shouted like this. It really scared me. Me too. Seeing the maids unperturbed, Mrs. Guan grew angrier. She gritted her teeth and scolded, "How dare you be so arrogant the moment you arrive?" "Madam Zhao." Mrs. Guan, unable to contain her anger, addressed Qiao with frustration. "This must be Madam Zhao, right? And the deputy prefect's wife. Madam Zhao, you've just arrived. Why don't you rest more? You seem to be in such a good mood." Liu glared at Nanny Ding and rebuked, "Auntie, were you the one shouting just now? Our madam is pregnant. You are scaring her with your sudden loud shouting. If anything happens to our madam, can you bear the responsibility?" Nanny Ding and Mrs. Guan were taken aback. Madam Zhao was pregnant? Despite being pregnant, she had endured the hardships to be with her husband. Nanny Ding smiled. I didn't know that Madam Zhao was pregnant. I deserve to be scolded. Please forgive me, Madam Zhao. They'll be more careful in the future. I'm also concerned. These flowers were meticulously cared for by my wife. It wasn't easy for them to look this beautiful. It's a shame to pick them. Madam Zhao, do you think we should tell the girls to stop? Mrs. Guan added, Madam Zhao, I wonder what your plans are for the flowers. It's spring, and you just arrived. I was thinking of hosting a flower viewing banquet in a few days to invite all the ladies to appreciate the blossoms. If the flowers are gone, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1649. Furious Qiao shot her a glance and nonchalantly remarked, So what if they're gone? They're just a few flowers. I ordered them to be picked because I value them. Who says a flower viewing banquet must have actual flowers? It's just a title, Mrs. Guan. Don't take it too seriously. Or did Mrs. Guan assign someone to tend to these flowers and forbid me from picking them? Mrs. Guan was on the verge of exploding. Over the years, she had dealt with 7 wives of the prefect, each with varying degrees of intelligence, temperament, and attitude. However, Madame Qiao was the first to barge in without any regard for the reputation of others. It was one thing not to care about others' reputations, but did she not realize who she was? She was the wife of the deputy prefect. Did she understand that for her husband to smoothly handle official matters and live peacefully in An's province, he had to rely on his own husband? An idiot? Was she not afraid of retaliation from her husband? Lord Zhao was the primus and a confidant of the crown prince. What was the matter with him? How could he marry such a ridiculous wife? It was no wonder they were exiled to such a place. Madame Qiao, you must be joking. They're just a few flowers. If you like them, feel free to pick them. However, once they're picked, these flowers will be gone. You'll find it difficult to enjoy them tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Forcing a smile, Mrs. Guan said. Qiao Xin sneered. That is none of your business. Mrs. Guan felt a wave of dizziness and gritted her teeth. You don't need me to do anything. I specifically had someone take good care of those flowers. Qiao Xian had no intention of picking the flowers. Her aim was to lure Mrs. Guan and observe her reaction. At this moment, she was here too, making fun of her. Qiao Xian smiled and signaled Mian Mian to come back. She scrutinized Mrs. Guan and raised an eyebrow. Deputy Prefect mentioned yesterday that you weren't feeling well, but your complexion looks very good. Your eyes are bright, your voice is loud, and your legs seem strong. I really can't tell where you're feeling unwell. Did you purposefully avoid greeting me? Mrs. Guan's eyes widened. Mrs. Guan's breath grew heavier, and she nearly burst into curses. Bully, this is too much. All right, just you wait. Do you really think you're so great, just because you're the wife of the prefect? Do you think you can act so atrociously and lord over me? They'll let her know that I'm not to be trifled with, and that I can't afford to offend you. Madame Qiao, you've misunderstood. Mrs. Guan sounded a little angry and cold. At this moment, she couldn't squeeze out a smile anymore. I was indeed not feeling well yesterday. I'm better today. I see. It seems that I misunderstood you, Mrs. Guan. Mrs. Guan smiled, but didn't say anything. She thought to herself, you're not just misunderstood. You're simply unreasonable. Qiao Xian glanced at Nanny Ding. Don't make such a big fuss in the future. I won't hold it against you this time, but if you scare me next time, it won't be so easy. Nanny Ding's heart trembled, and she hurriedly bowed her head with a smile. Thank you for being magnanimous, Madame Qiao. These words were true. She was genuinely a little afraid. Qiao Xian's belly was not bulging yet, indicating that she must be pregnant within 3 months. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1650. The Deputy Prefect's wife is really arrogant. Pregnant women within the first 3 months are the most delicate. Any fright might lead to serious consequences. Additionally, Qiao Xian didn't require concrete evidence. If anything happened, she could simply blame Mrs. Guan for causing the distress, and it would be disastrous for Mrs. Guan. How could the unborn child of the prefect's wife be compared to a servant by the deputy prefect's wife? Even if she didn't pay with her life, the consequences would be severe. Qiao Xian departed with the maids, leaving Mrs. Guan glaring at her retreating figure. In reality, the maids hadn't picked many flowers. It was still just a small bunch. Mrs. Guan, however, found the flowers vexing. Not only were they an eyesore, but they also irritated her. She was seething with anger. This garden had originally been hers. The former prefect's wife, who was an invalid, never left the house and didn't appreciate these things. Mrs. Guan had long considered this piece of land as her own territory. But who would have expected such a difficult person to come? Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Guan ordered coldly, dig up all the roses in this area and replace them with chrysanthemums. Yes, madam. Nanny Ding, nursing a grudge against Qiao Xian and her maids for ridiculing her, answered loudly and directed the maids to uproot the plants. She was at least a bit more sensible. Which prefect's wife wouldn't give her some respect? The response to not being greeted politely with a smile and a respectful Nanny Ding was really infuriating. Enraged, Mrs. Guan returned to her room, slammed the coffee table, and nearly shattered the teacup. How can there be such a shameless and domineering person? Who does she think she is? I'm so angry, so angry. Furious, Mrs. Guan gasped for breath. If Nanny Ding had been more sensible, she would have tried to console Mrs. Guan. However, feeling humiliated herself and harboring anger, she found Mrs. Guan scolding Qiao Xian to be rather satisfying. Instead of calming her down, Nanny Ding exacerbated the situation. During breakfast, while Qiao Xian and Xiao Yinwan were dining, Li Qiao returned and reported about the removal of the roses and Chinese roses. Mrs. Guan ordered the planting of chrysanthemums, claiming she was tired of roses. It seems like she deliberately opposed Mrs. Guan and wanted to provoke her. This Mrs. Guan is incredibly infuriating. Although Qiao Xian had been assertive, she hadn't demeaned or insulted Mrs. Guan. Asking someone to pick a few flowers wasn't a significant offense. At most, she had exchanged a few words with her. But had she done something wrong? When the prefect's wife arrived, the deputy prefect's wife, Mrs. Guan, pretended not to be aware and didn't even show her face. So, why couldn't Qiao Xian jest with her? It was preposterous. She hadn't come here to be mistreated. She was the prefect's wife, while Mrs. Guan was merely the deputy prefect's wife. Qiao Xian picked a few flowers in the garden and agitated her. How could Mrs. Guan slap her own face like this? It seemed like Mrs. Guan didn't take her seriously at all and treated this place as her personal territory. The deputy prefect's wife has quite the temper. Qiao Xian grinned. Xiao Yinduan arched an eyebrow. What did she do? Qiao Xian smiled, hearing that he was ready to support her. It's nothing, my husband. Don't worry about these trivial matters. I can handle them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1651. Two bullied Qiao Xian instructed Li Qiao, summon Kai Yun, Kai Wei, Ms. Song, and Ms. Miao. Inform them to halt their work. Let them know that I have a fondness for these flowers and want to keep them for my enjoyment. Anyone daring to defy will be subject to punishment and expulsion. Understood, madam. Li Qiao swiftly turned on her heels and sprinted away, fearful that the flower beds might be uprooted if she delayed. The flowers and trees were well established, with deep roots that had likely grown for numerous years. Eradicating them all would be a formidable task. When Li Qiao and the others arrived, the four maids had not yet started clearing the roses. Li Qiao rushed to the rose garden and reported to Qiao Xian. The maids hesitated, reluctant to take action. The prefect's wife held a higher status than the deputy prefect's wife. How could they dare to defy the prefect's wife's orders? However, each prefect's tenure in this place was short-lived. The longest stayed for less than 3 years, while the briefest departure occurred in less than half a year. On the other hand, the deputy prefect's wife and her husband had resided in this region for a decade. If they obeyed the prefect's wife now, who would bear the consequences when she departed, and the deputy prefect's wife sought retribution? One maid, with a forced smile, said to Li Qiao, "Miss, this is Mrs. Guan's directive. If we go against it, it won't end well. Miss, why don't you speak to Mrs. Guan yourself?" Li Qiao glanced at them, showing no intention to make things difficult. Of course. I'll inform Mrs. Guan immediately. You may leave now. Thank you for your understanding, miss. Thank you, miss. The four maids felt relieved, but remained standing hesitantly at the side. Li Qiao led Kai Yun and Kai Wei to the west yard, while Ms. Song and Ms. Miao stayed behind, engaging in conversation with the four maids. Despite being newcomers, they had no intentions of staying within their own boundaries. Since there were no servants in the east courtyard, they saw no reason not to socialize. With Qiao Xian's pregnancy, the east yard was off limits. However, if they were to establish a presence in the west yard, building relationships with the existing staff was essential. Li Qiao, maintaining a polite tone, stood in front of Mrs. Guan. Yet, the very fact that she was here made Mrs. Guan so infuriated that her facial expression seemed distorted. Inwardly cursing, Mrs. Guan pondered how Qiao Xian had boldly contradicted her earlier. She had even reprimanded her servants. Now, she couldn't even remove the flowers she had planted. She was obliged to stay because Qiao Xian liked them. This felt like bullying to Mrs. Guan, an unbearable injustice. Mrs. Guan harbored animosity towards all the prefect's wives, considering them intruders who had assumed her husband's position. She despised this place, so why did they come here? Their disdainful expressions were irksome. Yet, of all the prefect's wives, it was the current woman she loathed the most. How considerate of you to let us keep them if Madame Zhao likes them, Mrs. Guan said through gritted teeth, attempting a smile that almost broke two of them. Internally seething, Mrs. Guan thought, what else can I do? I'm only the wife of a deputy prefect. She's the superior official and can crush people. How can I reject someone who sends such brazen words through her servants? Li Qiao, grinning, responded, Thank you, Mrs. Guan. Our madam will surely be delighted. Mrs. Guan almost retorted with a sarcastic bah. She refrained, wondering why she should care whether Qiao Xian was happy or not. Li Qiao and her companions returned to the garden, instructing the 4 maids to replant the roses that were about to be uprooted and distribute them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1652. Be careful. The 4 maidservants were relieved and readily agreed to the task. Li Qiao returned to report to Qiao Xian. Smiling, Qiao Xian turned to Xiao Yunduan, saying, Husband, this is a life. Even in the capital, where Xiao Yunduan enjoyed fame and served as the crown prince's right-hand man, the couple was still overshadowed by more influential families. Though Qiao Xian wasn't one to suppress her emotions, she had to exercise caution. Regardless of her location, she found herself bowing to others. Now, in An's province, as the prefect's wife, she held a superior position. Even if it was just a facade, couldn't she be straightforward? With her status, there was no need to beat around the bush. Xiao Yunduan indulgently smiled. Deputy Prefect Guan and his wife have deep roots in An's province after more than 10 years. My wife, you need to be vigilant when interacting with others, and make sure to bring IE with you. The deputy prefect couple weren't virtuous, and Xiao Yunduan intended to settle scores with the deputy prefect soon. If his wife was going to challenge Mrs. Guan, he would be there to back her up. However, the possibility of Mrs. Guan seeking revenge covertly couldn't be ruled out, so caution was imperative. Xiao Xian nodded. Rest assured, husband, I will. Xiao Yunduan added, Furthermore, don't stoop to her level, and try to keep your temper in check. If there's anything, let me know. Understood. After breakfast, Xiao Yunduan walked with Qiao Xian in the yard for a while before heading to the government office. Unraveling the intricacies of this place and discerning whether the people were merely humans or something more elusive would prove to be a challenging task. In the past, the prefects were all here to slack off and think of ways to leave quickly. They did not care at all. It was not an exaggeration to say that Deputy Prefect Guan was in charge of everything in An's province's government office. Those constables and scribes all acted according to Deputy Prefect Guan's intentions. The bailiffs below were probably the same. Qiao Xian asked someone to take out the strawberry seedlings from the flower pot and plant them in the backyard. She had also brought a lot of potatoes and cantaloupe seeds. Previously, she had asked Zheng Sang and the others to come over and ask around. If there were suitable fields, she would buy them. She did not know if she could buy them. Sun Qian went out for a while. When he returned, he brought Zheng Sang and the other 2 back. Qiao Xian was very happy. Zheng Sang and the other 2 were also very happy. After exchanging greetings, they told Qiao Xian everything. The 3 local big families, the Mei family, the Hua family, the Fan family, and the largest 3 bandit dens, the 6 Ridges Min family stronghold, the 6 Harmonies fort of Snail Mountain, and the Tiger Roar Gang Tigerhead stronghold. Zheng Sang and the other 2 had inquired about the latest news, as well as some gossiping news that was unknown if it was true. There were also some stories about this Deputy Prefect Guan. Qiao Xian listened carefully and asked a few questions from time to time. Some Zheng Sang and the others could answer, but some could not. But Qiao Xian knew more about this place now after hearing the details. She would tell this to Xiao Yunduan later. In a swift turn of events, noon arrived, and Xiao Yunduan dispatched a message through a messenger. The note conveyed that he would be leisurely spending time with DeputyPrefect Guan at the clan in front of the governmental office, adopting a nonchalant and casual demeanor. Consequently, he mentioned he wouldn't be returning promptly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1653. Buying land. Xiao Xian extended an invitation to Zhang Sang, urging him to stay for lunch, and the two continued their conversation afterward. To Xiao Xian's astonishment, they successfully acquired 1,000 mu of land in the southern suburbs. A middle-class affluent family was planning to relocate, selling off all their properties and fields except the ancestral home. Despite the nominal 1,000 mu, the actual area exceeded 1,200 mu. Zhang Sang managed to secure the land at a remarkably low price, as those interested in purchasing such vast expanses couldn't afford them. Intrigued by the development, Xiao Xian expressed keen interest in visiting them in a couple of days. Coincidentally, it was the right time of the year to commence planting on the newly acquired land. Additionally, Zhang Sang had purchased a sizable house in compliance with Xiao Xian's specifications. It needed to be large and well located. The chosen residence was a spacious one on Huayan Alley, the 3rd Street in the eastern part of the city. The courtyard, spanning over 12 mu, boasted 3 entrances and a garden. The new residence was conveniently located, allowing a carriage ride of just over a quarter of an hour to reach the state office. Zhang Sang informed Xiao Xian that An's prefecture city was expansive but sparsely populated, with many vacant houses available for sale. Having already arranged for the house to be cleaned, Xiao Xian informed Zhang Sang of her plan to visit them the next day. She noticed that Zhang Sang and the others were still staying at the inn, prompting her to suggest, "You can move into the house now. It's not too late. Take Liu Fu, Aunt Song, and the others with you. They can stay there as well. Take some time to inspect the garden and consider where to establish a martial arts training ground. It will serve as a training facility in the future. We have Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Ai, and others here now. You don't need to worry. When we require your assistance, Lord will seek it. In case the government office is recruiting, would you mind holding a nominal position? With an official title, they could openly accompany Xiao Yunduan. Both Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian couldn't treat them as mere servants, so an alternative justification was necessary. Zhang Sang agreed without hesitation, adding with a smile, "We'll discuss it with Lord and Madam later. We'll serve as bailiffs." Despite their rough demeanor, being bailiffs seemed fitting. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had been concerned that Zhang Sang might be displeased, considering his past as a general. However, he suggested it himself, much to Xiao Xian's amusement. "If you're comfortable with that, it's perfect." Zhang Sang remained calm, saying, "Madam, you're overthinking. There's nothing to worry about." With that settled, Liu Fu, Ms. Song, and Ms. Miao began to make the move. Xia Sanjiao and his family joined them. Qiao Qiao and Qing Lian, not wanting to part, eagerly inquired if they could visit and play with Madame Li Xia and Li Qiao more often in the future. Xiao Xian happily agreed, allowing them to stay for a few days before making the move. Excited, the two girls cheered, prompting Liu Fu, Xiao Er, and others to also express their eagerness to stay and play. Xiao Xian responded with a smile. As the group departed, the east courtyard became noticeably emptier. Fortunately, they gained some companions along the way. During the journey, everyone became familiar with each other, providing ample opportunities to observe their behavior and temperament in various situations. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1654. The seed. They were all carefully chosen, ensuring that Ms. Song and her team wouldn't be shorthanded during their absence. Within the expansive mansion, Ms. Song and Ms. Miao were preparing meals for everyone, while Zhao and his family took care of various menial tasks. If the need arose, they could easily acquire 3 or 4 additional servants in the future. Prior to their departure, they instructed someone to keep an eye on the city gate. Upon the anticipated arrival of Guan and the others in 2 days, they were to be directed straight to the mansion. Zhang Sang agreed to each instruction. As he was about to leave, Zhang Sang hesitated briefly before deciding to share. "Madam, there's something I heard through hearsay. I can't vouch for its accuracy, but I believe it's best to inform you. Please take it casually, indifferently. A few days ago, I accidentally overheard some news. It appears that there might be an issue with the spring plowing seeds in An's province this year. The Mei, Hua, and Fan families seem to be causing a stir about something. This could be a significant matter, and if mishandled, it might lead to a substantial problem. I intended to inquire further, but I couldn't uncover any concrete information. Therefore, am uncertain if it's true or not. Nonetheless, please advise my lord to exercise caution. If this information holds true, there's a high probability it might be targeted at him." Qiao was taken aback and sincerely bowed to Zhang Sang. She addressed him seriously. "Thank you, Brother Zhang. This news is of utmost importance to us." "Hey, don't. Zhang Sang hastily moved aside, smiling in embarrassment. "Madam, please don't be like this. How can I accept this? Besides, I can't confirm the authenticity of this information." Qiao shook her head with a smile. "Even if it turns out to be false, Brother Zhang, you have served as a valuable reminder for Lord. I'm grateful to you as well. We must remain vigilant about this matter and make the necessary preparations." Feeding the people was a paramount concern. Without sustenance, all other considerations became inconsequential. Spring plowing was the most important thing of the year for the commoners. If anything went wrong, then DeputyPrefect Guan, who was always smiling, and the 3 big families who were obviously not to be trifled with, would do something behind the scenes, and Xiaoyunduan would be put in a passive position. This was very dangerous. Zhang Sang had reminded them of something important, so Qiao was very grateful that they had more time to prepare. Zhang Sang felt even more self-conscious upon hearing her gratitude. "It's the least I can do." Xiaoyunduan returned before 3 in the afternoon. Having just arrived at the government office, he sensed countless pairs of eyes observing his every move from a not-too-distant vantage point. They meticulously analyzed each action, extracting numerous details about him. There was no immediate need for him to plunge into overtime upon arrival and inquire about everything. Aware that Mrs. Guan might have propagated rumors of Qiao's supposed arrogance, he chose to adopt a more laid-back approach. Consequently, he gathered everyone for a morning meeting, engaged in a casual conversation with DeputyPrefect Guan, and enjoyed a leisurely meal. In the afternoon, he lingered for a while, perusing some inconsequential documents before heading back. Recognizing the value of a measured pace, Xiaoyunduan saw no urgency in hastening matters at the government office for a day or 2. More haste, less speed. There had to be a way to find relaxation. His wife and the child in her womb needed his care even more. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1655. Qiao is really calm. Qiao was overjoyed to see him back. For pregnant women, nothing was more precious than the company of their loved ones. She asked with a smile, "Aren't you busy, husband?" Her joy multiplied when she heard his sweet assurance that her company was more important, choosing to accompany her in the afternoon. The sunlight was radiant at this hour, with several large trees in the garden casting a broad shade, their thick branches reaching up. Feeling the confinement of staying indoors during the vibrant spring, Xiaoyunduan decided to join Qiao in the garden. Li Xia and the others thoughtfully brought out a long bamboo couch, placing it in a shady spot of the garden. A small coffee table adorned with a beautiful tablecloth held an array of treats, fruit plates, pastries, snacks, and candied plums. A small stove nearby crackled with burning charcoal, and a copper kettle emitted white steam. Li Xia efficiently brewed tea and served it to them. Kai Wei and the other little girls giggled and played around, engaged in cheerful activities with grass. Mrs. Guan, keeping an eye on the east yard, knew about Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's activities. Despite her annoyance, Mrs. Guan had resolved not to divulge any details about the east courtyard, forcing herself to eat until full. She concealed her frustration, sneering at Nanny Ding and mocking Xiao Xian for being pretentious and disgusting. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had strategically chosen a location with no cover around the tree, preventing anyone from hiding or eavesdropping. This only added to Mrs. Guan's irritation. In high spirits, Xiao Xian settled down with Xiao Yunduan, updating him on Zheng Sang's visit. Xiao Yunduan was surprised to learn that Zheng Sang had already purchased a house and fields, prompting a smile. Brother Zheng is indeed very capable. Xiao Xian beamed. I mentioned that I would visit the mansion tomorrow. Are you busy? Not at all. He'll accompany you. Xiao Yunduan immediately agreed. That's wonderful. They exchanged smiles. Xiao Xian proceeded to share all the information Zheng Sang had conveyed to her. While Xiao Yunduan couldn't verify its accuracy, the details weren't far-fetched. Even Xie Jingrong, unaware of the latest news, would find this information crucial. Xiao Yunduan's demeanor turned serious upon hearing about the seed issue. Speaking in a low voice, he remarked, "If not for Brother Zheng's reminder, I might have overlooked this. Spring plowing is imminent. It's indeed a critical matter. Any mishap could lead to civil unrest, and that's no trivial matter." Although they were distanced from the capital, making it less likely for the princes to target him as before, they might seize this opportunity to harm him. Xiao Xian reassured him gently. Now that we're aware, we have ample time to make arrangements. Money is not an issue for us. Why don't we procure additional seeds? Remaining calm, Xiao Xian continued. Perhaps due to the pregnancy, my space hasn't shown signs of upgrading, and the land hasn't expanded further. However, the fertile farmland in my space still amounts to 4,000 mu. With rice and wheat ripening twice a year, the storage compartment already holds at least 3 to 5 million caddies. Even if a problem arises, we can discreetly use it as advanced seeds, ensuring a better yield than those outside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1656. New Manor. Xiao Yunduan nodded, pondered for a moment, and suggested, "It seems we need to send a trustworthy individual to Yuzhong and seek Brother Yuzheng's assistance." The Yuezheng family boasted extensive connections in the business world, making them an ideal source for procuring seeds with sufficient funds. While Xiao Xian considered Zhao Shu reliable, she acknowledged that Yuezheng Xiao's expertise in business surpassed his. Since Xiao Yunduan had no intention of asking Zhao Shu for help, she opted not to mention him. Instead, she smiled and said, "In that case, please ask young Master Yuezheng if he can assist us in acquiring various farming tools. I still plan to do some farming." Xiao Yunduan chuckled and agreed, "All right." The following morning, they visited the mansion on Huayan Alley, 3rd Street in the east of the city together. Zheng Sang, Ms. Song, and Ms. Miao were already waiting. Qiao Qiao and Qing Lian approached Xiao Xian with eager eyes, restrained only by their mother's warning not to throw themselves at Madame Xiao. After spending some time in the main hall, Zheng Sang led them on a tour of the house. When An's province was established, it occupied a vast area, but the population growth had been slow. In recent years, more people had migrated, and the mansions built by the affluent in the city were truly expansive. This three-way house was exceptionally large, covering over 12 mu. Xiao Xian estimated it to be closer to 15 mu. The garden, especially, stood out, surpassing even the one in the prefect's office. Despite having been neglected for a long time, the cleaning efforts by Zheng Sang and others left it still looking somewhat barren, lacking flowers. A few naturally growing trees added a touch of vitality. A lake within the garden, spanning nearly 2 mu, boasted clear water with aquatic plants growing on the shore. Remarkably, It was a living water source, fed by a spring in the lake that connected secretly to the outside, allowing water to flow. There was also a rectangular pavilion situated by the lake, offering an excellent spot for admiring the scenery or engaging in fishing. Xiao Xian particularly liked this place. Observing that the pavilion appeared a bit weathered, she contemplated having someone restore it. After thorough discussions, they circled the northeast corner of the garden and renovated the wall bordering the east courtyard, transforming it into a martial arts training ground to accommodate daily training needs. They cultivated a cadre of servants with robust martial capabilities. The following day, they departed from the city to inspect the farmland they had acquired in the southern suburbs. Similar to other regions, acquiring extensive paddy fields proved challenging, while drylands were comparatively more accessible. However, this time, fortune smiled upon them. The plot of land turned out to be flat ground at the exit of a valley. Although small hills dotted the landscape, it was generally level, a rarity in the surrounding mountainous terrain. Surrounded by wasteland, one side bordered the mountain range, while the other extended with small, undulating hills. Weeds covered the area, and shrubs and vines claimed territory everywhere. Even medium-sized trees grew sporadically. Xiao Xian pointed at the barren yet lush land, outlining a circle. Tugging a Xiao Yunduan's sleeve, she proudly declared, "Husband, I want all of this land. Let's start with 3,000 mu." Xiao Yunduan responded with a smile. Okay. As the newly appointed official of the region, Xiao Yunduan found it amusing that his wife desired to claim a piece of wasteland. The procedure was remarkably convenient. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1657. Buying land. In any case, they decided to sell the land at market price and engage in business. However, a mere 1,000 mu was not sufficient. Even 4,000 mu wasn't much, considering the limitations on developing plots suitable for easy farming. High mountains made cultivation inconvenient. Xiao Xian envisioned cultivating potatoes across the land. She aimed to elevate the status of potatoes in this region. Potatoes had proven to be highly productive. Both Lu Min and Gu Zhao had achieved commendable results and earned praise from the imperial court. Upon completing their 3-year terms, promotion for the duo was almost certain. Despite An's province's vast marshes, the scarcity of fertile fields resulted in insufficient food production. Promoting potatoes could potentially alleviate the food shortage. While 4,000 mu fell short of meeting their needs, it sufficed as a demonstration plot. Wu Guan and the others, including Zheng Seng, were present that day. They relocated to a house 500 meters away in Huayan Alley and went to the state office to meet Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan informed them of his intention to send a letter to Yu Zhang, and he requested they organize a trip for its delivery. Zheng Seng volunteered to go and promised to bring along another person. The journey to Yuzhong would take merely 2.5 days. Indeed, its prefecture city was close to Yuzhong Province City, only 500 miles away. However, the rugged mountain paths extended the travel time. Otherwise, it could be covered in less than 2 days. Xiao Yunduan agreed without objection, handing the carefully prepared letter to Zheng Seng. He confirmed his departure for the following morning. In addition to purchasing 3,000 mu of flat land, Xiao Xian also acquired 50,000 mu of wilderness. Upon discovering this, Deputy Prefect Guan and Mrs. Guan burst into laughter, nearly dropping the teacups in their hands. How naive! They've even bought such a worthless piece of land. I wonder what they plan to do with it. The couple mocked Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan for a while. Mrs. Guan couldn't help but comment. Those lands might not be worth much individually, but altogether, those 50,000 mu of wilderness amount to 50,000 taels of silver. And a large house in the east of the city, 2,000 taels of silver, along with thousands of mu of wasteland. That adds up to 60,000 taels of silver, doesn't it? They bought so many things on the day of their arrival. Ms. Qiao's set of mahogany furniture isn't cheap, and the tea table is made of inlaid snails. How do they have so much money? Deputy Prefect Guan felt a bit uneasy when she mentioned this. An's province was in turmoil, with numerous demands for money, yet his income was limited. Despite accumulating some wealth over the years, he didn't possess 100,000 taels of silver. The new prefect had only been there for a few days, and he had already spent nearly 100,000 taels of money. Even though it was his own money, the comparison was quite stifling. Deputy Prefect Guan pondered further. They're buying houses and land. Could it be that they plan to settle in An's? Mrs. Guan grew even angrier, sneering, that depends on whether they have the capability to stay here. Deputy Prefect Guan nodded in agreement. Madam, you're right. I think they've been here for a few days. It's time to host a welcome banquet. Madam, go and talk to Madam Zhao so we can send an invitation. Mrs. Guan had no desire to see Qiao. Whenever she thought of her, the image of her proud demeanor and the term paying respect came to mind, leaving her utterly disgusted. She pretended to be indifferent, as she hadn't visited the East Yard to pay her respects, and Qiao hadn't sent anyone to confront her, so she saw no need to engage with her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1658. Liu Fu is happy observing her clear reluctance. Deputy Prefect Guan offered advice. She's the wife of the prefect, and you're the wife of the deputy prefect. You'll cross paths many times in the future. Don't let anger get the better of you. It only brings you down to her level. Mrs. Guan sighed. I want stoop to her level. It's just that looking at such a person makes me unhappy. Old master is right. I can't avoid her from now on. Otherwise, she'll think I'm afraid of her. Reluctantly, Mrs. Guan visited Qiao that day. Qiao was in discussions with Songshi and Mian about farming, and Liu Fu, who was also keenly interested, had tagged along with Qiao, Qing Lian, and Xiao Air from the day before. Qiao asked them to stay for a few days. Liu Fu's ears perked up at the mention of staying. His face revealed envy, catching Qiao's attention. Amused, she asked if he wanted to assist Songshi with errands, as Songshi couldn't manage everything alone. Qing Yin, who was now working for Xiaoyan Duan, showed no interest in these matters. Liu Fu eagerly nodded, expressing his willingness. Children from less privileged backgrounds mature early, burdened with the daily concern of putting food on the table. Liu Fu, in particular, envied those with fields. As he grew bolder, he began fantasizing about owning a large plot of land. Qiao, noticing his eagerness, couldn't bring herself to disappoint him. With a smile, she said, All right, you can run errands with Songshi and handle accounts with Mian. Once you've learned everything in a few years, they'll hire you to manage the large fields. How does that sound? Liu Fu's joy was evident as he nodded enthusiastically and pledged, He'll be an adult in 2 years. He'll definitely seek guidance from elder brother Songshi and sister Mian. Amidst laughter, the conversation shifted to hiring people for farming when Mrs. Guan arrived. Qiao, noticing her, furrowed her brow slightly, asked Songshi and the others to leave, and had Kaiwa invite Mrs. Guan inside. Mrs. Guan entered with a laugh, expressing, I've been wanting to come and chat with you for a while, but I've been unexpectedly busy these days. Today, I happen to have some free time, and I hope I'm not disturbing you, Madam Zhao. She took a seat on the left side of Qiao with a smile. Internally amused, Qiao noted Mrs. Guan's competitive nature. The impact of her words lingered, pushing Qiao to find ways not to appear inferior. Yet, she dismissed the thought. Considering their respective positions as the wife of the deputy prefect and the wife of the prefect, deliberately avoiding confrontation seemed futile. In a good mood, and with no immediate need for confrontation, Qiao opted not to tease her further. She greeted Mrs. Guan with a smile. Mrs. Guan, what brings you here today? Mrs. Guan responded with a smile. Yes, I have something to tell you today. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1659, Reception Banquet. Madam Zhao, you've been in An's province for a few days, and it seems you've had enough rest and recovery. A reception banquet is in order, and I'll be the host. Madam Zhao, I hope you'll honor me by attending tomorrow night, Mrs. Guan proposed. Qiao Xian, considering it an excellent opportunity to meet the local nobility and officials' wives, had this in mind. However, to maintain the image she had projected in front of Mrs. Guan, she had to uphold it for now. Thus, she frowned and instinctively displayed a look of disdain. After a moment of contemplation, she reluctantly nodded. Very well, Mrs. Guan. You can make the arrangements. He'll be there. Mrs. Guan nearly choked on those words, inwardly cursing. Who told you to act so high and mighty? You're so arrogant. You're out of your mind, and so on. Great. Then the reception banquet will take place in the garden tomorrow. They'll send someone over to escort you, Madam Zhao. Mrs. Guan forced a smile, got up, and declared, I have matters to attend to. I won't disturb your rest. Goodbye. Qiao Xian simply replied, You may leave now. Mrs. Guan's body visibly trembled, and she almost seemed on the verge of spewing blood. She turned around, left with a straight face, and Qiao Xian and her servants burst into laughter. Qiao suggested, We should tease her more. Those from the west courtyard are so irritating. Kai Wei, Mian Mian, and the others agreed, voicing their disdain. The nannies and maids from the west courtyard frequently approached them in various ways, attempting to get close and inquire about their master. It was laughable. Did they truly believe that they could win them over with peanuts, melon seeds, snacks, an embroidered handkerchief, and 2 rough silk flowers? They were delusional. Mrs. Guan experienced a burning humiliation in front of Qiao Xian, feeling a fiery turmoil in her chest. She couldn't help but curse in frustration, letting out her anger before managing to suppress it. Subconsciously, she lowered her gaze to her attire. To save face in front of Qiao Xian, she had meticulously dressed herself before meeting her. The outfit was tailored from the finest brocades from Jiangnan, adorned with exquisite and elegant flowers, radiating nobility. The pearl-studded jade hairpins in her hair were among her most expensive accessories, featuring thumb-sized pearls that were round and snow-white, paired with dazzling and magnificent jade. However, when she presented herself to Qiao Xian, the latter didn't spare her outfit a glance, and even the hairpins on Qiao Xian's maids, Li Xia and Li Qiao, seemed equally exquisite. This dismissal made Mrs. Guan so furious that her face flushed with heat. The shame deepened as she noticed the emerald bracelet on Qiao Xian's wrist. Mrs. Guan acknowledged that not only her attire, but even all her jewelry combined might not match the value of a single piece worn by Qiao Xian. The emerald bracelet spoke volumes of its supreme-grade quality, and even those with little knowledge of such things could sense its extraordinary nature with just a few glances. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1660. Feeling offended back in her room, Mrs. Guan grew angrier as she dwelled on the encounter. After venting her frustration, she sneered maliciously. Doesn't she know where she is? She's the one flaunting her wealth. Someone will come down from the mountain one day. The thought of them being robbed one day brought a hint of satisfaction to Mrs. Guan, a dark look flashing across her eyes. Nanny Ding, noticing Mrs. Guan's emotions, tried to console her, and they began discussing the arrangements for the banquet the next day. The reception banquet had already been prepared, and the invitations were ready. It was an event that had to take place sooner or later. Nanny Ding swiftly dispatched people to deliver invitations and provided the menu to the kitchen for arrangements. The opera troupe, having been informed a few days ago, was ready to perform. Mrs. Guan, torn between her desire to showcase her hosting abilities and her reluctance to make the reception too grand for Qiao Xian, found herself annoyed. In the end, her inclination to flaunt prevailed. Mrs. Guan meticulously inquired about the banquet details and made specific arrangements. The following day, Mrs. Guan organized a reception banquet in the garden, while Deputy Prefect Guan and the three major families collectively reserved the best local restaurant to welcome Xiao. Around 10 in the morning, guests began to arrive one after another in the backyard of the state government office. Qiao wasted no time and headed to the reception pavilion in the garden. Although the reception was in her honor, being held in the government office made her the host. Arriving early seemed more appropriate, allowing her to greet the guests individually and gain a better understanding of the situation. When Xiao arrived with Li Qiao, Kaiwa, Qiao, and Qing Lian, only 2 or 3 ladies were present, and Mrs. Guan was engaged in conversation with them. Upon noticing Xiao and her attendants approaching, Mrs. Guan's smile froze, and an instinctive feeling of territorial violation crept in. Strangely enough, she hadn't experienced this sensation even when other prefect wives visited. Or if she did, it was fleeting and quickly dissipated. Yet, the intrusion of Madame Zhao into her perceived territory was particularly potent for Mrs. Guan. It almost overwhelmed her, causing her to suppress a smile and curse inwardly. Mrs. Guan took a deep breath, glanced at the 3 ladies, and forced a smile. "This is Madame Zhao. Let's welcome her." As they approached, Mrs. Guan chuckled. "The guests haven't arrived yet, but here you are. A distinguished guest like you should be the grand finale." Qiao smiled in response. "Certainly, important guests should be the highlight, but being the host, it's more appropriate for me to arrive early." Her gaze shifted to the 3 ladies, and she continued with a smile. "Allow me to introduce." Mrs. Guan found herself on the defensive in this round. Gritting her teeth, she spoke with a forced smile. "This is the first Madam and second Mrs. Guan, and here is Elder Miss Guan, the daughter of the first Madam. And this is Madame Zhao, the new wife of the prefect." The 2 ladies and Elder Miss from the Guan family greeted Qiao with smiles. Returning the gesture with a gentle smile, Qiao raised her hands. "So you're the ladies of the Guan family. Please don't stand on ceremony. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1661. Guest Qiao smiled and complimented Eldest Miss Guan on her gentle temperament and outstanding appearance. Eldest Miss Guan responded with a shy smile, bringing joy to the 2 ladies. First Madam Guan maintained a humble smile. Initially somewhat nervous, the 2 ladies from the Guan family observed that Madame Zhao exuded a pleasant demeanor, gradually putting them at ease. They engaged in polite conversation with Qiao. Mrs. Guan, however, grew increasingly displeased. With a forced smile, she interrupted and inquired about the health of the Guan family's old master. Unable to contribute much to this topic, Qiao refrained from speaking and instead enjoyed her tea with a smile, allowing the conversation to unfold. The 2 madams of the Guan family felt a bit uncomfortable discussing their father-in-law's illness on such a festive occasion. Caught in a dilemma, they couldn't ignore Mrs. Guan either. Fortunately, relief came with the arrival of another lady. Mrs. Guan greeted her warmly, recognizing a familiar face. The conversation shifted, and the 2 Guan ladies breathed a sigh of relief. Mrs. Guan, whether she liked it or not, continued introducing guests to Qiao with a forced smile. Despite her initial anger, she began to numb to the situation. She couldn't halt the introductions, considering Qiao pivotal role as the distinguished guest in all future banquets. As more guests arrived, the garden buzzed with activity. Fragrant-clad women filled the air with chatter and laughter. Finally, the 2 madams of the Hua family, one of the 3 prominent families in An's province, made their entrance. They were accompanied by second Mrs. Hua's 2 daughters. First Madame Hua had only 2 sons and no legitimate daughters, but she had 3 concubine daughters, none of whom accompanied her to the gathering. As one of the 3 major families, the Hua family held a higher status than the other clans. Upon the arrival of the 2 madams from the Hua family, the other madams stood up, offering warm greetings to demonstrate their respect. Even Mrs. Guan unconsciously became more polite and displayed a kinder smile. The two madams who secretly reveled in their elevated status. With the longest history in An's province and deep roots, the Hua family considered themselves unrivaled. Even officials' wives were courteous, a sign of the respect they commanded. Seated, the two madams Hua, along with their daughters Huoruyu and Huoruxian, maintained an air of pride even in Xiao Xian's presence. First, Madame Hua greeted Xiao Xian as if she were the host, praising An's province's richness, beautiful scenery, and simple-hearted people. Madame Xiao, being new here, you'll find our place quite delightful once you explore more. I propose we organize a gathering together. Laughter and agreement rippled through the assembly. Xiao Xian responded with a warm smile, her eyes radiating brightness. First, Madame Hua, your words make it sound enticing. I'm genuinely interested. I plan to explore the area soon, and we can certainly arrange a celebration together. Supportive smiles and expressions of honor filled the room. After a while, the two madams of the Mei family arrived. The Mei family lacked an old master or old lady, with the eldest son overseeing affairs. The three brothers still resided together. However, third Madam Mei was absent that day, and the daughters of the Mei family did not accompany their mothers to the gathering. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1662. Hope failed. She was dumbfounded. Although the Mei family possessed abundant local farmland and mountain shops, their primary business centered around wood and furniture. Most family members often traveled for business, and they maintained a peculiar temperament, avoiding close interactions with other family clans. They preferred solitude, distancing themselves from social engagements. The three brothers of the Mei family were formidable individuals. If provoked, they wouldn't engage in open disputes. Instead, the offending family would gradually experience hardships, ultimately reaching a point of ruin. These repercussions appeared unrelated to the Mei family on the surface. Initially, nobody suspected the Mei family's involvement. However, over time, a few discerning individuals began connecting the dots, sharing this information among the prominent families. Soon, none dared to easily offend the Mei family. Outwardly, the Mei family maintained an air of calmness, behaving as if they were never involved in anything sinister. The two Mei family ladies courteously greeted Xiao Xian, the prefect's wife, and then took their seats without further conversation. Exchanging pleasantries seemed unnecessary. However, no one dared to disregard or underestimate them. Several madams smiled, taking the initiative to greet the Mei family. Xiao Xian, not rushing to establish connections, observed the Mei family's distinctiveness. Indeed, they differed significantly from other families. Mrs. Guan felt a bit disappointed. She had anticipated witnessing a spectacle. After all, Xiao Xian's arrogance and conceit left no room for anyone to save face. How could she tolerate any perceived disrespect from the two Mei family ladies? If she dared to confront them publicly, they would respond with an unyielding attitude. Moreover, they would undoubtedly use their influence to bring harm upon both her and the prefect. However, this was the characteristic nature of the Mei family. To Mrs. Guan's surprise, Xiao Xian displayed no reaction at all. There was no indication of her intending to argue with the Mei family ladies, nor did she exhibit any signs of anger towards them. Disappointed and a bit dumbfounded, Mrs. Guan suddenly recalled that Madame Xiao appeared different from what she had observed in the past. No, it wasn't just a seeming difference. It was an outright change. Previously, Madame Xiao had consistently presented herself in an annoying manner. Yet today, she greeted everyone with smiles, gentleness, and amiability. Mrs. Guan grew even more infuriated, internally scolding Xiao Xian for putting on a facade and pretending to be someone she was not. She now understood that Madame Xiao was deliberately here to embarrass her and make her unhappy. She wasn't alone in this realization. Even her husband, Lord Xiao, seemed to be picking a fight with her and her old master. Mrs. Guan's determination to fight back surged, and she sneered inwardly. Lord Qiao and Madame Qiao held no sway in An's province. If they wanted trouble as soon as they arrived, then she wouldn't hold back. The final guests to arrive were the madams and young ladies of the Fan family. The Fan family, along with the Hua family and the Mei family, constituted the three major families in An's province. Currently led by Old Lady Fan, the Fan family had 2 sons and a daughter. Old Lady Fan cherished her daughter greatly and couldn't bear to see her married off. Fearing potential mistreatment in another family, she took it upon herself to find a suitable husband for her. This decision had surprised many. Nevertheless, as long as the Fan family was willing, there were individuals eager to offer their sons as potential matches to gain a powerful in-law like the Fan family. Others had no grounds for objection, and they congratulated the couple during the wedding banquet, saying, "Congratulations." If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1663. Biased in this direction as for the 2 sons of the Fan family, now known as First Old Master Fan and Second Old Master Fan, along with their respective wives, it was none of their concern. Upon hearing the news, Qiao Xian was equally surprised. Doting on a daughter didn't seem to be that straightforward. If he truly favored his daughter, then it was imperative to instill in her the qualities of discernment, knowledge, talent, responsibility, courage, and intelligence. Qiao Xian believed in providing her with adequate protection and support, ensuring she possessed the skills to navigate through life's challenges wherever she went. In the best-case scenario, she would lead a content and fulfilling life. This, Qiao Xian considered genuine love for a daughter. Yet, the fact remained that he favored his daughter over his 2 sons. Despite having 2 sons, he chose to keep his daughter at home in pursuit of a suitable son-in-law. In the context of ancient times, was this truly an expression of paternal affection? Had he considered how his sons and daughters-in-law would treat his daughter in his absence? Qiao Xian found his bias towards his daughter somewhat peculiar. Even if they were reluctant to let their daughter face challenges in her in-laws' house, they could have provided more dowry and support for the couple within the Fan family's influential background. They doubted that with the Fan family's status and local influence, the in-laws would dare to separate the couple. Upon learning that Old Lady Fan was perceived as conceited, prideful, and arbitrary, Qiao Xian wasn't surprised. Such a temperament was inconsistent with taking such drastic measures. Today, the Fan family had dispatched the first Madam, second Mrs. Fan, along with second Mrs. Fan's 2 daughters, Fan Jing and Fan Qiao. Additionally, the young Madam of the Fan family, Bai Ruwei, and her daughter were present. While first Madam Fan had a legitimate son, Fan Yuzong, the second branch of the family, lacked a son, even from a concubine. Fan Rian and her husband had a son, Baimo, who was only 2 years younger than Fan Yuzong. This time, the atmosphere within the Fan clan was even more vibrant. Madame Lady Qiao had consistently exhibited arbitrary behavior, leveraging her seniority with an air of arrogance and narrow-mindedness. Regardless of the banquet, she would invariably be the last to arrive, a habit that permeated the entire Fan family of women. Today was no exception, and everyone had grown accustomed to it. Mrs. Guan warmly welcomed them and introduced Qiao Xian with a smile. Before first Madam Fan and second Mrs. Fan could utter a word, Fan Ruyan broke into laughter. "I never imagined Madam Qiao to be so young. Lord Qiao is indeed youthful and promising. Anzazhu is fortunate to have him as an official. Madam Qiao exudes demure charm, and I feel an instant connection with her." First Madam Fan and second Mrs. Fan exchanged glances, offering smiles that seemed to affirm Fan Ruyan's words. However, a discerning eye could detect a lack of genuine warmth in their expressions. It was clear they were compelled to go along with and support Fan Ruyan, demonstrating a silent understanding between the two. Qiao Xian maintained a polite smile, responding to the seemingly spoiled Fan Ruyan. However, Qiao Xian had no interest in engaging with such a self-righteous individual. Establishing genuine friendship with someone of such demeanor appeared nearly impossible. Either one's status had to significantly surpass hers, eliciting wholehearted flattery, or there was little room for equal footing. Chapter 1664. What a prodigal if your status is inferior to hers. She will undoubtedly view you with disdain, treating you merely as a lackey to be summoned and manipulated at will. Furthermore, dealing with such an individual could be precarious due to their small-minded nature. A seemingly innocuous statement or minor incident might unknowingly incur her displeasure, leading to unforeseen consequences and potential retaliation. Hence, it is advisable to maintain surface-level politeness and keep a safe distance from such personalities. Unexpectedly, Qiao had already unintentionally irked Fan Ruyan. Upon arriving at An's province, Qiao and Zhao Yunduan promptly purchased a house and land. The laughter wasn't confined to DeputyPrefect and Mrs. Guan. Many others chuckled behind their backs. The couple's claim of hailing from the capital only fueled the mockery. The decision to invest in a desolate mountain and wilderness appeared short-sighted to onlookers. Questions arose. Wasn't the spacious courtyard behind the state government office sufficient for their needs? And the extravagant purchase of a separate house for servants seemed wasteful. People struggled to comprehend the couple's motives. Did they plan to stay in this remote area for an extended period? Such a notion was unprecedented. The Fan family, particularly Fan Ruyan, took delight in ridiculing Qiao and Zhao Yunduan. Fan Ruyan, adept at making jests, had been entertaining her mother with tales of their purchases. Connecting the dots, she voiced her concern to her mother. Lord Zhao and Madame Zhao seem so fixated on farmland that they even bought desolate land in the wilderness. Are they hinting that we should provide them with prime farmland? Mom, what if Lord Zhao brings it up? We need a strategy. Old Lady Fan agreed with her daughter's assessment and felt a surge of disdain. Daring to contemplate our benefits and seize them, they will face the consequences. They must be courting death. Tell your brothers to be careful. First Old Master Fan and second Old Master Fan dismissed the concerns, believing that local officials wouldn't engage in such actions. They considered local officials to be astute individuals, aiming to maintain good relations with prominent local families for effective governance. Their confidence was bolstered by the fact that their Fan clan held a prestigious position among the three great clans, alleviating any apprehensions. In their view, An's province differed from other regions, and even if the prefect harbored any greed, it would likely be limited to monetary interests. The fields, they reasoned, were not beyond his reach. Consequently, they reassured their mother that there was no need for undue worry. However, Fan Ruyan found her brother's lack of agreement disheartening. She persistently pressed them, expressing her discontent and feeling slighted. Aware that she had initiated the discussion, she vehemently defended her stance, exacerbating the discord with her two brothers, who already harbored disdain for her. This discord displeased Old Lady Fan, prompting her to reprimand her two sons. Taking a firm stand in support of Fan Ruyan, she lectured them. Being cautious is not amiss. Lord Zhao and his wife are even eyeing the wilderness. It's uncertain they won't covet our fields. Ruyan has a point. We must plan ahead and devise a strategy. We can't afford to lose out. As elder brothers, your considerations must match Ruyan's thoroughness. The two sons, well aware of their mother's temperament, hesitated to challenge her, understanding the difficulty of pacifying her once angered. Reluctantly, they placated her, as being labeled unfilial was a scenario they could ill afford. Chapter 1665. Remembering Qiao, therefore, the two old masters of the Fan family promptly apologized to their mother and sister, assuring them that they would attentively consider their viewpoints. Old Lady Fan and Fan Ruyan's spirits lifted again. Fan Ruyan had attended the banquet to scrutinize Madame Zhao's appearance. Despite preparing herself to be critical, upon seeing Qiao, she found no fault to pick at. Madame Zhao, young, beautiful, gracious, gentle, and elegant, captivated attention with her splendid attire, emerging as the focal point of the gathering. She possessed an allure that held people's gazes for an extended moment. Feeling somewhat perplexed, Fan Ruyan couldn't discern whether she was disappointed or not. Despite her uncertainty, she found herself smiling at Qiao Xian, either out of curiosity or a desire to glean information about the genuine noble families in the capital. Even though the prefect of An's prefecture saw frequent turnovers and changes, no prefect had hailed from the capital until Lord Xiao's appointment, making him the first. Yet, despite Fan Ruyan's attempt to extend goodwill, it wasn't apparent to onlookers. She believed that her willingness, as the great aunt of the Fan family, to express goodwill towards the new prefect's wife should elicit surprise and gratitude. However, Qiao Xian's response showed no signs of surprise, happiness, or gratitude. Despite her smiling demeanor and gentle tone, Qiao Xian treated her note differently than others, leaving Fan Ruyan feeling slighted, as if she had been overlooked. As Fan Ruyan picked up her teacup, her expression soured, and she mentally noted to Qiao Xian, "Just wait and see." Qiao Xian remained oblivious to the unfolding dynamics. As everyone arrived one after another, it neared noon. With a warm smile, Mrs. Guan sought Qiao Xian's opinion, proposing to commence with the banquet before the entertainment. Qiao Xian, displaying no objections, graciously thanked Mrs. Guan with a polite smile. Mrs. Guan's smile grew even more gracious and genial, repeatedly stating it was her duty while secretly harboring less pleasant thoughts. As the banquet commenced, Mrs. Guan invited Qiao Xian to the main table and gestured for everyone to be seated. With a smile, she informed Qiao Xian, "I've arranged for the renowned specialty dishes of An's province. Madam Zhao, as our distinguished guest, you must savor them later. The local delicacies are highly esteemed by the residents here." Laughter filled the air. "That's right. Anzez's cuisine is exceptional. Madam Zhao, you must give it a try and see how much you enjoy it." Madam Zhao is sure to be pleased. Observing the peculiar smiles on everyone's faces, Qiao Xian couldn't help but wonder about the enigmatic culinary surprises Mrs. Guan had in store. Intrigued, she remained unfazed. If Mrs. Guan anticipated her discomfort or an embarrassing situation, she would likely be disappointed. Qiao Xian had encountered and tasted many unusual dishes that were beyond Mrs. Guan's imagination. Before the first dish made its appearance, an unpleasant odor wafted through the air. Li Xia and Kai Wei were the ones serving Qiao Xian, while Kai Hua, Li Qiao, and Xiao Qiao were stationed elsewhere with Mrs. Guan's proficient maids and servants.